Jarvis, drop my needle.
Hello, this is the hardcore legend Mick Foley, and if you are interested in listening to idiots, you came to the right place. Have a nice day.
Woo! That's an attention getter.
He's a very strange young man.
He's an idiot.
What we're dealing with here is a complete lack of respect for the law.
Oh my God, he's an idiot.
You know, of course, that you're out of your jurisdiction.
Personally, I think you're an idiot.
But that's the evidence in the car.
But I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
Always like to keep my audience riveted.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, friends and fiends, and welcome to Free Range Idiocy, the podcast about everything, but mostly just the stuff we like. It's been said many times that a gimmick can make or break a wrestler, and one of the biggest parts of that gimmick is entrance music. It's the first thing fans hear as the performer's on the way to the ring, the last thing they'll hear as they step back to the curtain after the match. So who has the best entrances of all time, according to us? Well, we're so glad you asked, because we're breaking it down in this episode 215, The Art of the Entrance. I am your Uncle Todd, and with me, as always, the man who has his entire house wired for sound so he can always enter the room to his music. He has been my partner in idiocy for over 2 decades and is wearing on his family's last good nerve. I give you the man they call Tim.
Greetings and salutations, my friend. How are you?
You know, been better, been worse. Overall, just doing pretty good for the shape, man.
Nice. Very good. Good to see you. Yeah, I wear over my shoulder the big gold belt.
Which you won't defend.
In honor of us discussing what is the greatest, the real entrance theme of all time. The greatest, the hits, the ones that stick with us and have made many a wrestler who they are.
Just like herpes.
God almighty. And there it is.
We're officially down in the gutter. Welcome to the gutter.
God, I feel like I have to put the belt down after that comment now.
Oh, you besmirched the belt that you have yet to defend, that you bought off the interwebs?
Let's be clear. These belts were not bought for the defense against you, okay? They were bought as a symbol of my fandom and of...
They're a symbol of you as a paper champion.
Memory of my childhood and teen years following this wonderful art form that is known as professional wrestling. Mm-hmm. And that's right. Now that I had a little bit of disposable income to splurge on myself, I decided to. So
could have helped the homeless, could have brought water to a small village in a needy country, but instead, we've done some great things with our money, sir. Thank you. My wife and I. It's we. Oh, okay.
Yes.
I'm just checking. I didn't know I thought you were referring to me. I'm like, I ain't done shit.
All right. At least you're honest about it.
But I also don't have 2 wrestling belts. So let's, just keeping things in perspective. That's all.
Yes, indeed.
All right, sir. Well, I believe that you have a little kind of summary here because the thing is, like, we for people, the uninitiated, wrestling entrance music, it's a big part of the whole presentation. And, there is an art to it. And there is a, pardon me. I don't know what the heck that was. Squirrel trying to come up through my esophagus. There is a certain, hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. What the hell are we doing? What are we doing? My goodness.
Off the rails at 3 minutes and 30 seconds.
It's not even late, and neither of us are drunk. Like, no. What the frack is going on?
I don't know. This early start time
just go ahead.
Has not helped the idiocy. So
you know what? I feel that you just need to take over the show here. So give us the lowdown.
You look like you're a little lightheaded, too. You're like, I don't know where I am.
Where's my medication? My pills.
What makes an entrance theme great is the question. So if we're going to talk about the art of the entrance, the greatest entrance themes of all time. And we're also going to talk about some events as examples of how entrance music had played a major role in fans' reaction. What makes an entrance theme great? Well, since the, since the middle 80s, when we had the rock and wrestling connection happen with, really driven by Hulk Hogan and then followed on by many of his contemporaries and peers, music became a very critical part of the presentation. Before music was part of the presentation, really wrestling was and at the time, even in the early 80s, wrestling was still presented as a legitimate athletic competition. And so you had, guys come down to the ring, they were introduced. It was really more like what you would see in a boxing match in some ways, where it was just, two competitors going at it. And really no greater example, I think, of how things converted over is really if you go to YouTube and look up, because of his passing, recently, WWE has posted the complete match of Hulk Hogan versus the Iron Sheik in 1984 for the WWF Heavyweight Championship. And now in that clip, they play Real American. They don't play Eye of the Tiger, but at the time, Eye of the Tiger was Hogan's music. And Sheik came out with classic Freddie Blassie and was introduced. And then you hear that guitar of Eye of the Tiger, that dig it, and you see Hogan walking in the back. There's a shot of him walking. I don't want to say walking the aisle, but he's walking the hallways of Madison Square Garden, heading to the
Goldberg intro before Goldberg.
Yeah, but there was something about that when you hear that music start and you see Hogan and he's kind of like, he's smacking his biceps and he's kind of hyping himself up before he goes out. Like, even when I was watching it, it's like it gets you going a little bit. Now, again, this time it was Real American that was playing because there's probably licensing rights. They had to, overdub that. But regardless, when you hear the music hit and you see him doing that, it gets you in the moment of this guy is hyped. He's going out there. He's about to go into combat, and it's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about wrestling themes is that they are this powerful tool to create a superstar's identity. It is a theme is what makes a superstar instantly recognizable, and it in a lot of ways defines their character. And we're going to talk about some of these themes. I don't want to give away specific ones because I want us to talk about them and kind of point back to this. But usually what really makes a great theme is it's instantly recognizable, it fits the character, it pumps up the crowd, it invites their participation. They get into it. And we'll talk about some of those. It typically these themes have a strong hook, and hooks are very are very much a part of music as a whole. Like a lot of pop music, some of the most popular pop music has, hooks in them that are just, what you come back to. And ironically, a band that we both appreciate and loved at one point, Blues Traveler, wrote an entire song about that because the hook brings you back, baby.
And it's a friggin' great song.
And it's a great song.
Still is.
And the song endures over time, that it doesn't ever really fade away. It is a definitive part of that wrestling character. It's not just music. It's part of the performance. It's part of the identity. And so why is a theme like this? Why does it do this? And so we have 6 points that we just want to kind of bring out, and we'll reference back to these as we talk about this. Point number 1 of what makes an entrance theme great: immediate recognition, or what is called the first note pop. When you hear a note or a sequence of notes from a wrestler's song, right away the crowd gets off their feet or the crowd boos. Like a great theme will get a reaction from the crowd right away. Like, okay, I know who's about to come down to the ring, and this is going to be something big, and I don't want to give an example. I'll give an example later on of what's kind of interesting when they do something a little different from this, because again, you don't see a lot of wrestlers changing their theme up at the big events because the theme is so tied to the pop they get that if they were to switch to another song just for that event, they may not get the reaction. Like, even though the crowd knows what the match is, they may not get the reaction they're hoping for because it's not associated with them, and oftentimes wrestlers have done this before. I'll give a few examples later on. So immediate recognition, the first note pop. Number 2, fits the wrestler's character. It's got to meet the character. If Triple H comes out to, some squeaky clean flowery song, it's just kind of like, okay, I'm taken out of the whole thing of what the game is. You know what I mean? I'm taken out of the idea that he's this killer, he's this driven, individual. And so, it's got to fit the wrestler's character. It's got to embody who the wrestler is. And, those who are, we talked last episode about heels, bad guys in wrestling. Someone who's a menacing villain needs to have something that's usually darker and slower. Someone, who's a hero needs something more, triumphant and anthemic. And so, we see this play out, and we'll see this play out in some of our examples. So, fits the wrestler's character. Number 3, energy and emotion. It's got to have energy to it. It's got to bring something to the table. It can't just be a little la da 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 da.
Well, or tension, because you could make the case that there are some themes, and here I'm going to reference two that I don't think made our list, so I feel safe in referencing these. Mankind's original theme,
yes,
and then there was also a lot of the Bray Wyatt theme music that he used in his various incarnations. It wasn't necessarily to bring in an energy or an emotion. It was setting a mood, and it was creating this tension of like, what the hell is going to happen here?
Yeah.
And the tension would then kind of either release through the song or was releasing through like the appearance of the wrestler, which is again a very unique thing for him. And of course he was a unique guy, so it kind of makes sense.
Yep. And so there are some examples, and we'll reference those of wrestling. Like, not every song, like the best entrance themes have this aspect to them. Not every song like has it to the nth degree. There are some songs that really hit it, and we'll talk about some of those. But usually one of the themes with these entrance themes is there is an energy about them. There is a way to bring emotion out of the crowd. And again, it comes back to that idea of the crowd gets off their feet or gets on their feet, gets out of their seats and reacts as excited. And so, music has to bring emotion or it's not doing its job. And that brings us to number 4, which is, the crowd participation factor. Now, this song didn't make it on either of our lists, but a great example of this is Kurt Angle's Olympic theme, where it's very anthemic. So again, this kind of plays against type a little bit because he was usually a villain, usually heel, but it was a very anthemic song that he had. But there was a rhythm to it where it's like, it goes dun 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 dun. You suck, dun dun. You suck. And so the crowd would get into it, and they would literally, as he's walking the aisle, chant "You suck" at him. And so it was really, and there were other themes like that. Some that are on our list we'll get into that possess that really, as they engage the crowd, as they get the crowd to pop, as they get the crowd to engage in the emotion and energy of the character, it causes them to say something, to do something in reaction to them. And that's what wrestlers want. That's really, at the end of the day, they're storytellers, but they need to have the crowd engaged in the story that they're telling. And so by having the crowd, participate in some aspect of their theme really, gets them kind of primed for what's about to come in the match and for them to be engaged in it. Number 5, there's a memorable hook or riff. We talked about this. There has to be a strong hook in the song. And many of the songs that we're going to talk about have that there's just a really strong hook in those songs that if I were to, play, one of those songs on my phone to someone who's, somewhat familiar with wrestling, they would know right away who that person is because they are synonymous with that rhythm, with that theme. And so it's got to have a memorable hook to it because it's something that sinks inside of you and into, kind of your memory of the event and of the match. So there's a catchiness to it. And then lastly, our 6th point, timeliness and consistency. So the best themes, stand the test of time. Many of what we're about to talk about have done that. Some of them damn near for 3 decades almost, maybe almost 4 decades in some cases. So really, some of these themes, especially, what we've determined to be the top ones are the cream of the crop. They are the ones that have really stood the test of time and really have defined these characters. And when you hear it, right away who they are. And there is, again, a consistency to it that, when I hear this sound, I think of this person. So to review, it's immediate recognition, fits the wrestler's character, energy and emotion, crowd participation factor, memorable hook or riff, and timelessness and consistency. I will admit I did run a GPT thing on this. This is not solely from the mind of the man they call Tim. I did, lean on our digital overlords, and so that is part of what we're doing. So,
but you did cut and paste it, so I mean, you did participate a little bit in that.
I did. You have mentioned most of the work I do here is cut and paste, so I have.
But you do it well, like
thank you.
A surgical precision.
Dare would you say, am I the real world's champion when it comes to cut and paste?
No, because you would refuse to defend the title.
You are so bitter about this.
I'm just
So
saying. I'm not bitter about it. I'm just saying if you got belts, you ought to defend them. You got 2 of them. You 2-belt Tim. Will you defend either of them? No.
No,
go ahead and flash around all you want. I
am going to flash it right here. There it is. This thing is damn huge. You look at this thing. This thing is massive. Love it. Love it.
Yeah, it might be a compensation for something, but we're not going to get into that.
Stop it. Just stop it. All right. Any comments on what makes a wrestling entrance great?
No, I think those are great points.
Okay.
I will say that I tried to adhere to some of those, but my biases did come through in our list. So yeah, we started out originally. This was going to be a top 10 list, and like
this
20 minutes
many
before
iterations
the
in 24
show,
hours.
All of a sudden, Tim's got it. He's coming up with a 20, and he's doing this, and then he talks about he wants to break it down by decade. I'm like, what the hell is happening? And then as I'm trying to I'm just trying to finish up my outline, my part of the outline, and as I'm doing that, he's making other changes in the outline live because this is all on friggin' Google Docs. So it's all happening live, and I'm just texting him like, what the hell's happening? I'm so confused. I'm lost.
What day is it? What time is it? Where am I? Who am I?
So we have a top 20.
We do.
Entrance themes.
It was really hard to do 10 because there were just so many great entrances.
And then because we couldn't even contain ourselves to a top 5, we have a top 6 bonus section for famous event entrances.
Well,
particular instances of entrances.
Those to me are like the application of these themes. So when we talk about these events, what we're going to talk about isn't just about the fact the theme defined the character and so forth, but what about the theme made the match in that event? And so I want to talk about that because it's less about the theme itself. I mean, it's about the theme, but it's about the feel of the environment of the arena, of the match itself as these combatants come down to the ring and what it kind of primes you for. Mm-hmm. And so, so we will talk through that after we talk through, he's making a change.
Well,
and a good one at that, sir. Amen and amen on that. I can get on board with that. All right.
I thought you might.
All right. So this is the Free Range Idiocy top 20 entrance themes of all time. Do you want to go like 5 and 5? You want to kind of talk through 5 and then I'll go through 5?
Let's bounce back and forth.
Bounce back and forth. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So coming in at number 20, we're starting at the bottom of the list here. And this was hard. No doubt. This was hard. But I'm going to start with some of the bottom of my list is really around some group themes that were really iconic. And so I'm going to start off with the NWO theme. That there was a time in the late 90s and somewhat in the early 2000s when it was brought into WWE where the NWO music really evoked a strong response from the crowd. And this was the theme of a heel stable that started with 3 and grew into like half the roster at one point. I think it was like, and then they had to do like subdivisions, and it was like it was NWO Wolfpack, NWO,
so
NWO
ridiculous.
Classic, so, but for this theme, it definitely hit the mark of energy and emotion, crowd participation factor, and definitely the memorable hook. Like when you heard those first notes, I mean, right away you knew who was about to walk the aisle. You knew it was about to be an NWO situation, and it's just iconic. And I'm going to give talk mostly about Hogan, Nash, and Hall here. Like those three.
That's
the 3 original members are really the ones that I associate mostly with when I think of NWO, like the founding members, founding fathers, if you will. Mm-hmm. And so that's my number 20. That is an iconic theme. It was a microcosm in time, but it was one of those things where WCW, when they did the NWO, that was a case of a star that burned so brightly, but it burned out quickly. Like it wasn't, I used to think of NWO being like a 5-year run. It was really like 2 to 3 years at most.
Yeah.
It wasn't that long. And it's really incredible because it skyrocketed the business overall into a place that was just, and then you had the Attitude Era, which also took the business to, a massive, audience. And so it's really interesting. Like you and I were living in an apartment together when we would watch Nitro and Raw kind of back, we'd bounce back and forth, and NWO was huge then. And so it was a massive thing that happened in a short period of time, but it was just an iconic theme that even, today when those notes hit, people know what that is and they associate with it because it was it was a hot time for the business in the 90s.
My number 20 is going to be one of my favorite female wrestlers.
OG.
And a pioneer of the style that has now come to become accepted as just, women's wrestling. Going to go with Lita with Love, Fury, Passion, Energy, which is a great description of just her style in the ring and her as a performer. Started out as a valet with what was the dude?
Let me look it up.
He didn't make it very long. They figured out very quickly, like, I think we know where the money is, and it's not in him. I remember he was on
S.A. Rios.
Yes, he was on like the first PlayStation game I got, and I was like, who? Then eventually became, part of the Hardy Boys, kind of valet, but then started to get more involved in matches and very much kind of in that same vein of like high risk, high reward sort of maneuvers. And the music really kind of set the tone, was a great counterpoint and a great way to identify her as opposed to the Hardys. Cause the music kind of played into her style as opposed to, just being part of the Hardys. Yeah. And it is a great theme, still is whenever she's, made her comebacks and stuff, like people are kind of instantly like, oh, you still after all these years know who it is.
And her gimmick with S.A. Rios used to be like he would do a moonsault, I think, to finish the opponent, and then she would also get up and do a moonsault. Like she really she along with Chyna were breaking the mold for women in wrestling because she got very physically involved, and in a way that it kind of blew you away a little bit. It's like, holy crap, like you didn't see. And sad to say this, but you didn't see women doing a lot of moonsaults back, in the late, mid to late 90s when Lita came around. And so
you didn't even see them having real matches. Like that was still the era of a lot of bra and panty matches and evening gown matches. And like there was only but like 6 women on the women's roster, and, 2 of them were the actual workers, and the rest were kind of like, models who are wrestling ish,
right?
So it's like, yeah, Lita stood out because, like I said, her style was the closest to what we see now.
Yep.
Trish Stratus, probably like second place in that. Actually, no, I'd probably say Jackie.
Yeah.
Was because she was a badass. That was the one. Good God, she would have twisted me into a pretzel.
And I think she's a great example of that immediate recognition. Like when her music hit, you knew who was coming out.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And it fit the personality of the character really well.
Yeah.
So number 20 goes to Lita. Who do you got sitting at number 19?
So my number 19, keeping with the theme of factions and groups, this is one that I know probably has a place in your heart too, because we were watching this together when both Edge and Christian, kind of came into the business, kind of debuted in WWE and made their presence felt. I'm going to call this Gangrel / The Brood, because that's where Edge and Christian, really kind of came to prominence, was when they were paired with Gangrel in what was called the Brood.
Mm-hmm.
That theme was incredible. It just started off with this, kind of like whisper sound that just had a very, again, this is one of these things that as soon as that whisper sound hit, immediately the crowd knew who was about to, come on board. And then it would start with this really quiet, kind of sound. And then it would be like, bang, ding, bang, bang. There was just like this really strong drum and rhythm and bass thing going on, and strong guitar. And they would, they would come up from under the stage through a riser, with with fire around. I mean, it was just an amazing visual with the music.
It was a total great, it was a great melding of the music with the visual, because in a lot of cases, let's face it, like there's a lighting change or this and that. It's very rare you get something that combines that well as an overall package. And that did, and just unfortunate that the Brood didn't really, go all
again,
that far.
The Brood and again, this is where it's like time dilation in some ways. Like you saw them so frequently, and I remember Gangrel. And tell me if you think this is appropriate. I mean, hopefully Penta, goes for a bit longer, but I feel like in a lot of ways, Penta is kind of like this decade's version of Gangrel in some ways. And hear me out. When Gangrel and the Brood were running, they were being put over quite a bit. You know what I mean? Like the three of them, with Gangrel as the leader, were being put over really strongly for probably a year, maybe year and a half to 2 years.
Yeah.
And then things started to kind of fall away when Edge and Christian broke out and became a tag team and started to, do the TLC matches with the Dudleys and with the Hardys.
Mm-hmm.
And Gangrel kind of fell to the background after that. And but at least initially they had this amazing run, and in a lot of ways Gangrel was kind of this like consistent mid-carder who would, because again, when Edge and Christian were part of that, Gangrel was the featured star. He would be the one wrestling the matches. He would be the one. And I remember he had that jumping DDT maneuver, which I thought was amazing as a finisher, which reminds me a lot of Penta when he does like the Mexican Destroyer, or when he does, some of his. So there's just some similarities there where as a mid-card wrestler, just very strong, very well presented for the product, and really was over with the fans, like hugely. The Brood started off as heels and I think quickly became baby faces, because I think there was a coolness factor to them that the fans really glommed onto. And a lot of that had to do with the theme. That I think when fans heard that theme, they got up off their feet, they got off their seats on their feet, and they had emotion. They participated. They were super into it. And the timelessness of it is going back like 3 years or so. Edge, I think it was at SummerSlam. I forget who he was fighting, but he reconstituted for this fight. He had to dig into like this dark side of himself.
Yep.
And they did his normal theme once he came up, because they do this for a few stars. Triple H did this as well, where they have one theme to kind of start out their entrance, and then they bring in their natural theme, because I think of what we talked about, that they need to have the normal theme to kind of connect with the audience.
Yeah, I hate that though.
It feels very disjointed.
I don't like it at
It feels very
all.
disjointed. I agree. But I think in Edge's case, he probably could have just done with just that, the old Brood theme, and he would have been fine.
Mm-hmm.
But they felt the need to switch into his other one. But when he did that, though, when that music hit, the pop that the crowd, I mean, the way it popped the crowd, because they hadn't heard it in a long time.
No.
The one thing that would have made that entire scene better is as he was coming up, if Gangrel was with him. And he taught, and I remember I saw an interview, I think it was Chris Van Vliet, who who asked him about that. And Edge said he really tried. He tried to get Gangrel, like he was talking to management about bringing him in to be a part of this. And for whatever reason, they didn't go with it. They didn't go, which again, this was not Triple H's era yet. It was Vince's era, which sucks, because that would have made the scene. If he had come up with him, that would have really made that scene. That would have been really cool. And he did a little bit of that in AEW, where they did bring, I think his name is David Heath, who is Gangrel. They brought him in with it was like after Copeland's first or second match, big event match with the company. They brought him in, and the crowd popped huge for him, because those two are just inexorably tied together, because of this time as the Brood. And so that's my number 19, because it is just such a timeless and strong theme that you got to go with it. So what is your number 19, sir?
Number 19, I mean,
right there, if you're a wrestling fan, you know exactly who we're talking about.
The Godfather, his Attitude Era theme, where I don't even think there's a name for it, but it's like, it
ain't easy.
It ain't. Now I could either kick your ass. I mean, the thing is, like,
I'm sorry. Hold on. ladies and gentlemen, when this character became a thing in WWE, Uncle Todd was forever sold on wrestling.
I was like, finally, I see something I recognize.
Representation.
Because I too had long said pimpin' ain't easy. And no one would believe me. And finally, Charles Wright set everyone straight and, endorsed what I'd been saying for a decade or more.
Oh, God.
What the flying hell is going on down the road?
What are you hearing?
Somebody in their friggin' Honda, like, sounds like a wet fart driving down. Jeez. Anyways, but no, this one is kind of like it's a one of my binkies, but it's also you got to remember that when this because I wanted to get a feel for it. Like, okay, was I just having nostalgia? No, I looked up like in one of the videos on YouTube, and when this theme hit, the crowd popped, like second only to like Austin and Rock back in the day during the Attitude Era. Like no one was over like Rover quite like the Godfather was. Now, granted, he had scantily clad women dancing with him, and that was big business for the Attitude Era. Still, great theme. It fit his character to a T. Like the nouveau pimp sort of vibe, and you've got like the freaking like blaxploitation / adult movie music going there. It's like it all worked. Like everything about that entrance just worked. No, that one's easy number 19 for me. It's hopped around the list a couple times. I had to move it down because a few others were in there, but
nice.
Dude, that was again like a couple notes, like you did it right there. That guitar riff, and you're like, I know exactly who this is.
Yeah.
Time to jump aboard the whole train, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, number 18. Now this one for me checks all the boxes. It is immediate recognition.
Since you spoiled mine.
Oh, what a ride!
There it is. Oh my gosh, I can't do it right, but immediate recognition fits the wrestler's character, energy, crowd participation, memorable hook, and just timelessness. I mean, all of it is there.
All the boxes.
All of it is there with the Road Warriors / Legion of Doom. What a rush. That is my number 18. These guys, and again, this is their theme in WWE, but man, when that first guttural, like what Uncle Todd just did, came across, everyone was on their feet, just like going ballistic for these two. They had their run in the late 80s, early 90s in WWE, and then they had another run in the late 90s, early 2000s. And my God, these guys were just, I mean, you talk about an entrance theme that fits the mold of the characters and really kind of gets you primed for what they're about to do. They were two wrecking machines, and Hawk and Animal were just, you knew when they were hitting the ring, there were some asses that were about to get beat.
Oh yeah. Like legitimately, those two guys don't look like they were the most gentle workers in the ring. Not
at all.
I can only imagine it's like one of those deals where it's like you see your name across the sheet from them. You're like, oh, crap.
It's going to be a rough night, boys. Buckle up.
Like, seriously, those are the times you're like, are you sure I can't wrestle hardcore Holly? Are you sure? Like, yeah.
Yep. But so timeless. I mean, I think I don't remember if Animal. I think Animal might still be alive. I don't know. I know Hawk has passed.
Yeah, Hawk has passed. I think Animal might still be alive. Yeah.
Yeah, but no. I mean, even today, if that music were to hit, there would be some element of the audience that would just go ballistic for it because of the oh gosh, what's the word for it? The nostalgia of it.
Nostalgia, yeah.
And just what that team was in wrestling. I mean, I remember most specifically at Wembley Stadium. I didn't see that event live, but I have since seen that match after the fact. But when they fought at Wembley Stadium I think it was like SummerSlam 88 or 89, they come in riding on motorcycles.
I think it was 89 because 88, I remember, I think that was still Hogan Savage.
I think you're right. It might have been 89. But they come in on motorcycles with their manager. I mean, it was just incredible. It was just, like the crowd just went nuts for them. And they were just...
that was actually 92.
Oh, it was 92. Oh my gosh. Wow. 92. Okay.
That's wicked off for you.
Was that
Are you
LOD
feeling
and
well?
Demolition? Was that LOD and Demolition?
I don't know. Let me see if they got the card.
Or was that LOD and no? It couldn't be the Hart Foundation because I think Bret Hart was fighting Davey Boy Smith.
Oh my gosh! Don't they just have the card? No, of course they don't.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. Natural disasters, no nails. Legion of Doom, Money Inc.
Oh, so that was when they were fighting DiBiase and IRS, which was Mike
Erwin
Rotunda.
R. Shyster.
Probably one of the last great crap 80s gimmicks, but that landed with people.
Yeah.
Because no one likes the tax man.
Wow, they were being managed by Jimmy Hart.
Yeah.
Like, is there anyone that they just didn't wedge like Jimmy Hart into there with? Like, oh yeah, sure, send him out.
Jimmy Hart was like the Paul Heyman of the 80s in some ways.
I just love how those
And
how like it seems like that can just be such a last minute thing. Because remember, there was a story that Jim Cornette told about, like he managed Mantar for like one match, and they sent him out there, and he's like, I'm pretty sure it was a rib, pretty sure this. But he's like, all right, fine. I guess I got to go out there. And so he's out there doing his shtick with Mantar. He's like, I don't even know what the hell this is all about.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. All right. Well, the LOD, What a Rush, phenomenal theme for that team. What is your number 18, sir?
Well, speaking of nostalgia, let's go with, and speaking of Jimmy Hart as well, my goodness, let's double this up and triple it up because Jimmy Hart wrote the theme. This is the Honky Tonk Man's entrance music, which I believe is just called Honky Tonk Man, because they repeat it about 1 billion times in the song. But you want to talk about a tune that just fits? Like you've got the Elvis impersonator wrestler. Why not give him a rockabilly, early, sort of rock and roll sort of feel tune that you're like, this could totally be an Elvis song as his entrance theme. It's great.
Yeah.
And to this day, like a dum 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 dum, I'm honk man, like coming to town in a pink Cadillac. Like, it's great.
And I kind of feel like as a heel, and again, this kind of goes to the whole fits the wrestler's character and the crowd participation part of it, is that, part of me wonders if, going with that, to your point, because he is this like Elvis impersonator, but by the 1980s, right? I mean, the zeitgeist is not that,
He's out of style.
When you hear that song, you're like, oh God, it's this guy.
Yes. That's the thing. Like it fits so well on that level too, because it's like oh my gosh, this crap, like this is my parents' stuff and all. Like, yes, he's so uncool.
Right. And right away you're just like, boo.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's perfect on so many levels. It's cheap heat, but you know what? It's heat nonetheless.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. No, that is a great pick. As we were doing this list, I was Uncle Todd and I were texting back and forth over the last couple of days, and I'm just like, and I'm thinking to myself as I'm reading, kind of some of what you were writing, I'm just like, I know there's going to be some names I'm going to forget. And that was one that I forgot. I did not, that was not top of mind for me because, one, I think just time and distance and that sort of thing. But when you mention it, I'm just like, oh my God, that is a great theme because
the more I'm thinking about it, like I could have done another 5 honorable mentions because like the one I deleted off of here, the Blue Blazer, that's totally a me thing.
And ladies and gentlemen,
it's totally a me
if
thing.
There's ever a theme that I think Uncle Todd should use if he ever enters an arena, it is the blue, because it's dun, 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 dun,
but it's got this great little like synth line, but it's kind of a funky bass line. Like there's so much going on in it. It goes way harder than it has any right to go. Yes. But it's freaking nominal.
Owen Hart, baby.
I mean, you've got that. Coco Beware's entrance theme is actually pretty damn good.
Oh, that's right. Isn't that more like kind of almost like a how do you put it? Like a church hymn sort of. It's like bird, 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 bird. Something because he was the Birdman.
Yeah. I mean, there's a ton of them that you could throw in there. But yeah, no, but it took me because I was freaked out when you're like top 20. I'm like, oh crap. But now that I'm sitting here and we're going through these,
there's so many.
Yeah.
And what I like about what we're doing is you and I both cover.
Well, here's one that neither one of us have. Here's one that neither one of us have.
Yeah.
Is this thing on?
Oh.
DX isn't on either of our lists.
You're right. You're absolutely, yeah. It's almost like it belongs in this group of like, the faction themes, the DX one.
Or here's another one that let me just double check. Oh, it is. Okay, so I won't mention that one. But yeah, there's so many now that I'm thinking about it.
Yep.
Oh, and here's one that isn't on either of our lists. Bam, bam,
oh, the APA.
And you're like, oh, somebody's ass going to get beat.
One of the great gimmicks. Yes. Oh my gosh. Ladies and gentlemen, the APA, Ron Simmons and John Bradshaw Layfield.
Which ties into Lita back when she was on
similar to LOD. Similar to LOD, you knew someone's ass was about to get beat. So
guns for hire.
Indeed.
All right, back to our list here.
Although I love the fake door they had in their office.
So I love the fact that when the Rock showed up and he went around it, and then like they're all mad at him, and
Simmons looked indignant about the whole thing.
He goes to the door, they're like, hey, how you doing? All right, I got to make that of it. I'll add that link in here.
You do.
Shoot, that section is gone. Who did that? All right,
possibly me.
All right, what's your number 17?
I think you'll agree with me on this one. This was probably one of the top themes of the 1980s. And it is, they have been accused of being, kind of the rip-off tag team of the Road Warriors, which I can see there being an argument for that. But nonetheless.
I mean, rip-off in that, Vince wanted some of that sweet, sweet NWA, WCW money. Yes.
Yeah. But ladies and gentlemen, Demolition, the tag team, and the song, of course, is called Demolition, but there was no song. Dun, 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 dun. I mean, as soon as those first couple notes hit, any like just YouTube Demolition matches and watch at least the first 5 to 10 seconds, and as soon as their music hits, the crowd goes just ballistic.
Yeah,
it's incredible. I mean, even when they were heels, because they were so ruthless when they were, even as like when they came in, they were heels. They were presented that way. They were managed by Mr. Fuji.
Yes.
And when they would wrestle, like, these jobber teams and stuff, I mean, they were like destroying these guys. Like they were just physically brutal with them. And their finishing maneuver, which was, one guy, I think it was Smash, would put the guy over his knee, and Axe would go up and drop the elbow and literally make him flip. Was so nasty. I mean, just
pretty sure it was called the Detonator, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah. Like you hadn't seen a finishing maneuver done by a tag team like that. I mean, it stood out. And so, when you think about those, those 6 points I talked about, fit their character, immediate recognition as soon as the first couple notes hit. Everyone knew it was about to happen. The energy that brought was incredible. Crowd was into it. The song is so memorable, and it's timeless. It's just like this is Demolition's music. Like there's no doubt. And so had to put this on the list because from the 1980s, this has to be in the top 5 at least of top themes, because no one is more recognizable than the Demolition, who went on to have a really long tag team title reign. I think they had like a multi-year reign. Not that was a thing back in the day. Like they never really talked about that in the commentary, but they had a reign that was like at least a year and a half, 2 years long. Because they were just that damn good. They were just dominant. There was no team that could really meet them until they were defeated by Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson, which, honestly is probably a team I looking back, I can buy into. So no, just Demolition, just phenomenal theme for a phenomenal team. What is your number 17, sir?
I'm going to need your help on this one. If you could help me out. Bow, now, now, now.
Oh, you didn't know?
I mean,
your ass better call somebody.
I mean, it's not the greatest musical piece, but the fact is, like, it immediately establishes who these guys are.
Wait a minute. Oh, you didn't know?
Oh no, please, that ruins
your ass better call somebody.
You kind of redeemed yourself at the end there, but still, no. New Age Outlaws was, of course, one of the big tag teams of the Attitude Era, part of DX, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But the theme was it just it just got people on their feet, and it fit them perfectly, because it was like, here's a team that is kind of a mess. Like, it's just kind of thrown together, and these two are just misfits, and they kind of found their way together as a tag team. And I have a lot of love for that. And of course, part of it comes with the whole spiel that they would do at the end. Whether or not they had the tag team belts, they would go through this whole spiel. It was great. Maybe I'm kind of tagging that on, but you know what? It's my list, so I'll do what I want. So yeah, number 17 is New Age Outlaws. What do you got sitting number 16 for you, sir?
So this may seem kind of low, given my fandom for this individual, but I had to put Bret the Hitman Hart's Heart Attack at number 16.
Good thing.
It is iconic. Here's a case where I think one of the things, I don't mean to say it's working against it because of this, but Natalia, who is a current female wrestler right now, also uses this theme. It started out as a theme of the Hart Foundation, which was a tag team in the mid 80s, going into the late 90s. And then Bret Hart utilized it when he went on a singles run. But it is basically, kind of associated with the Hart, really the Hart family and any wrestlers, that kind of come out of that. So it's less identifiable that way. And so I kind of made it lower because of that, but it is such a iconic theme. And really, during Bret's heyday, when that theme would hit, that dun 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 dun.
Well, you got that first initial.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The guitar squeal.
Guitar
Absolutely.
thing, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Fans right away off their feet. I keep saying off their feet, off their seats, on their feet, and just excited and energized. There's not much of a crowd participation part of it, other than it's more the recognition of the song, and so and again, I'm not knocking because Natalia's using it. I'm just saying that it's not necessarily timeless to Bret anymore, because it's kind of associated with her and maybe I don't think Owen it really was. Well, Owen was kind of associated to it, but overall, I think it's just kind of more of a Hart family theme in a way, because of Jim Neidhart and others, and so it's iconic. It is associated with the Harts, and it is a theme that we'll talk later on when we talk about some events, that were big in terms of themes, that his theme played a big role. So Bret Hart, Heart Attack is my number 16. What is your number 16, if you will?
American Dream. Oh my God.
He's just a common man.
Again, like, it's not Dusty Rhodes will never be primarily known for his run in the WWF. Fair enough.
Mid-card at best, right?
Yeah. But the fact is, like, the man worked that gimmick for all it was worth.
Oh my God, yeah.
And
so good. So good.
I love this theme because it really kind of covers a lot of the elements of the Dusty Rhodes character, and not just, because he was that a son of a plumber, baby, So he's the common man, but Dusty Rhodes is also funky. Like, he wasn't just there's just this outlandishness about this theme that just, to me, I'm like, yeah, no, that fits so well.
Yeah.
Just this character. Love it. Just note perfect. And then you get into
and the crowd would, again, look up on YouTube, American Dream Dusty Rhodes,
go nuts.
WWE. And when you see some of those matches and you hear his theme come on, the crowd, again, off the seats, on their feet. They're just energized right away when they hear it, because
as Pat Patterson would say, they went banana.
They did. And what made it better is when he gets in the ring and starts boogieing down to it, because there's just this absurdity of seeing, and again, I'm not trying to make light of his, weight or anything, but there's, part of the visual is him as this larger than life character, just getting boogieing, getting down and stuff.
And Dusty was never a fit dude.
No.
If ever there was a guy who probably should be wrestling in a t-shirt,
he was the common man.
Dusty.
He was the common man, 100%.
It's like this is a dude that you knew from your, job site, your, whatever, the factory you worked in. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to go fight. No, leave your shirt on. No, man, I'm going to get it. Yeah, this is sexy right here. Like, just unvarnished confidence is, oh my gosh, so great. Yeah, Dusty Rhodes, American Dream. That one's going to be number 16 for me. What do you got for 15 here, sir?
Number 15 for me is, and this is his WWE theme, but I mean, anytime you hear just that kind of growling, guitar chord, that whole thing, that is RVD 110%. Rob Van Dam, One of a Kind, is, again, I think in a lot of ways it's kind of a rip on the Pantera Walk, song. I mean, it's not a rip off, but it has a very similar theme.
But it's awfully close.
Very similar theme to it. But no, just when you hear that song, it's RVD, and the crowd just gets on their feet, when they hear that. And so it's immediate connection, immediate energy right there. And he was such, especially during his WWE days, was just so, he was such an amazing performer, so versatile, so, just could work in a lot of different scenarios and situations. So when you heard his music hit, the crowd right away was just into it. A lot of the crowd participation was more about, kind of the thumbs to self sort of thing. When you go RVD, they would go along with it. But no, just that song, just so good, memorable hook, and it's just is always associated with him. So yeah, that is my number 15 is RVD, One of a Kind. What about you, sir? What is your number 15?
I'm going to go with one of the faces of Foley here. We're going with Cactus Jack with his Attitude Era theme in the WWF. Just that when I hear this music, I feel like you're walking into a Robert Rodriguez movie. Like the guitar tone is so close to what Robert Rodriguez used in his Desperado movies. It's sickening. Like I love it. It is great.
Yep.
And it just has it's so good.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
so good. It's and it's ass kicking, and it's a little bit offbeat in a way.
It sets the table for what is about to happen.
Yes, it is just one of the most badass things. Like that is hype music for me, for sure. So yeah, Cactus Jack needs to be included here, sir. What do you got for 14?
My number 14 is it is Razor Ramon, also known as the Bad Boy. Scott Hall, ladies and gentlemen, that theme in the really early to mid 90s was just so recognizable, and the crowd, again, a case of a guy who was built up as a heel to begin with, and just over time just won the crowd over with he was probably, I would consider to be one of the most consistent workers during WWE's early 90s. And when he won the Intercontinental Championship, that belt is known as the workers belt. And honestly, like for me during that time period before he left to go to WCW, he was, not that he wasn't when he went to WCW, but for his time in WWE, he was a consistent worker. He was a man worthy of that Intercontinental Championship, and so associate him to that. So his theme, when that hits, the crowd right away was either, on their feet to boo the heck out of him or on their feet to cheer him. And so it's so iconic, so recognizable, and it's such a part of who, that character was, that Scott Hall was. And so I put this at number 14 because it is such a defining part of that character, that sort of, that character of the bad guy, and that Scarface sort of ripoff that he does there, where he's say hello to my little friend, right?
Only about a foot and a half taller than Al Pacino.
A little bit, but man, what a finisher though! Like I remember back in the day when he did that Razor's Edge, like it sounds goofy to say it now because you see someone like Rhea Ripley like put Io Sky up into that and then like hurl her across the ring. But when Scott Hall did that, that was not a finishing maneuver that was seen very often. And so it's like, holy crap, like this guy is like a freaking killer.
Well, but even when Rhea Ripley does it now, like there's the history of it, and you see her do that, it's like, oh
yeah.
Yeah, it's still special.
And Damian Priest, I mean, Damian Priest is on, very, very well documented. He is a huge Scott Hall, fan, and really, especially with his, Hispanic heritage, kind of carries that character, he wants to carry elements of that character forward.
Mm-hmm.
And so, he does that as well and does a great job with it. So yeah, Razor Ramon just in the early to mid 90s before before Scott Hall's, transition to WCW, was such an iconic character in WWE. So I've got to give it to him here. Seems like kind of a one-off, like where's this guy coming out of? But man, back in the day, WWE and Razor Ramon, they were synonymous. He was such a face of that company at the time. He almost like one of those guys that was like so popular within the company with fans, but yet never held the world title.
Yeah.
And someone who you could make an argument should have held the world title because of the popularity he had. But I think, again, carrying the worker's belt, that made sense because that's who Scott Hall was at that time. So
true.
So that's my number 14. What is your number 14, sir?
My number 14 has changed about 10 times in the last.
Dude, you have been changing your list like on the fly as we're going. Like you're just like throwing people out, tossing people in.
Well, a couple
Who do we got here?
One I added in there, I took out because I realized it was on your list. I'm like, okay, we're going to talk about that, so I'm going to use this as for all the leverage I can. And I was going to throw Penta in here, but then who's badass theme, absolutely badass theme, and a great look overall, great entrance.
Here's
package.
The thing I would say though, right now, and answer me this. And sorry to interrupt you, but just answer me this. Has Penta though in his theme been around long enough for you to recognize it right away?
No, I had to go listen to it as you were talking. Like
so
I had it low in the background.
To me, that dings him off the list. Right,
it does,
right now at least. Like, let's see how his career plays out in WWE. But right now, at least, we haven't gotten to that point where it's like, this is Penta.
True, absolutely true.
Like I hear the music and I kind of know who it is, but it's not as identifiable as I would, like compared to some of these other themes. Like some of these other ones, you hear them, like when you talk about Dusty Rhodes, as soon as that thing hits,
oh yeah,
that's the American Dream.
And then I did have an idea, and I might, you know what, I'm not going to say this one because I might still go for it. But anyways, I ended up going with Rey Mysterio, Booyaka 619, because I do got to admit, there is a very distinct feel to this that for whatever reason, like on one hand, I feel like it doesn't fit Rey Mysterio. On the other hand, it so fits Rey Mysterio. And I can't really explain how that works, but that's the thought process in my mind.
Because because he's dynamic.
Yes.
Like the song is dynamic. Rey Mysterio is dynamic. Even in this latter part of his career, he is dynamic. He's always been that way. There's
a bit of chaos. There's a frenetic
and
energy. Yes.
Yes. Bingo.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Yeah. So I figured that one needed a little love here. And it works out well, tying right after Razor and, our discussion there. So let's get a little classical for your number 13 here, sir. What do you got?
Pardon me for one moment.
Oh, my gosh. Of course. Here we go.
Gotta
bullshit with the belt. And I can defend the
man who defined this right here. And I know this feels kind of low for the list, but folks have to understand, like, when we get to the top 10, it's
also subjective. Like we're not pretending to be like some sort of journalist, objectivity here.
But right here, the man who made the big gold belt what it was, woo, Ric Flair. And I have called this I have called this, but as identified on search, the Dawn section of Also Sprach Zarathustra is really the theme from 2001. Most people.
Well, no, it was Also Sprach before it was.
Yes.
That, but yeah, you'll recognize it from there.
The Nature Boy Ric Flair. I mean, when you hear that song hit, you know exactly who's about to come down the aisle. And even though at this point, well beyond his career, if his music were to hit, people know who is about to come down the aisle.
Yes.
So got to give props to Ric Flair on this one. He is the one and the only. Back in the 80s and 90s, when that music hit, the crowd again just always would be on their feet, just excited, energized, and they knew who was coming down the ring. This is synonymous with him. And if any other wrestler tried to use it, they would have a very, very tall hill to climb to make it their own, because this is Ric Flair's theme.
Well, they had to take Charlotte and turn it into the disco version.
Yes. And that's the point.
Hooked
like
on
Charlotte
Classics version,
Right. Charlotte uses some other version of this, but it's not 100% the same, right?
Yeah,
so
no.
it's because, she, even being a Flair, would have to climb that hill, climb that mountain, if you will.
The thing is, what makes this work for him is that even though Ric Flair in the ring he's not a stiff, he's not a slow performer.
No,
his character is the guy who is not in a hurry. He is the best. He knows he's the best. He knows he's the man. Therefore, why am I going to rush? Why am I going to rush getting to the ring? I'm going to take my time. So having this classical piece playing behind him, this very deliberate and very anthemic and, heralding his approach to the ring, I'm going to take my sweet ass time. Like, I'm going to soak this in, whether it's the boos or the cheers. Like, yes, this is my thing, and it fits him to a T. Also fits him to a T as his career wore on, because again, then he becomes this kind of this thing from the past, that you have to recognize that, like, oh yes, he's a classic sort of thing.
Yep. And what's funny as well is and it kind of carried over from WC, and it's, I found this interesting. It carried over from when he transitioned from WCW to WWE and back. Is that theme stayed with him? Like, it wasn't like he had to find a different theme when he went to WWE. I don't know what the licensing was around it. I don't know what the contractual nature.
I'm sure it's in public domain.
Public domain at this point. Okay,
yeah.
So
I mean, and that's the thing. That's another thing we haven't really brought up, is the idea, like, how many of these themes are like, they are written by the companies that employ these people, and they're property of them, because they don't want to pay licensing rights for like Satisfaction by the Rolling Stones or whatever, especially which became a thing when stuff is on TV. At the live events, I think it was a little bit more loosey-goosey, especially since I think in some cases there were licenses that were purchased by those arenas and for playing music at like hockey games and stuff like that. So maybe it was a matter of the royalties would then get paid and stuff like that. But as soon as it was on TV, it's like, no. ASCAP and BMI, they want their money, and the wrestling company is like, oh, no, baby,
no, player.
We ain't. whoa, player. Are we going Teddy Long? Are we going Godfather? You're gonna go 1-on-1 with the Undertaker,
with a great one. So that's my number 13. What, sir? Your number 13 is kind of almost the antithesis, and yet was probably as equally as revered in the particular company he was a part of as Ric Flair was in his.
Yes. We're going with, at lucky number 13, The Sandman with, interestingly enough, Enter Sandman by Metallica as his entrance theme. I mean, the opposite, and also kind of talking about what we were talking about, where, you don't see this happen very often, where it's a song by a group. Like, there's licensing involved, and which is, you'd think, like, how could this happen? Because ECW was on TV, ECW had pay-per-view, and as Paul Heyman once explained, I believe in the Rise and Fall of ECW documentary, which you can find on Peacock, I think, they never actually, it was incidental, or I forget how it was atmospheric music. Like, they never actually had a live feed of the music going to TV. It was always picked up by the microphones around the ring. It was picked up by the announcer's microphone. So they didn't have to pay any licensing for any of that music. So that's how they got around it, legally speaking, is, it was just being played in the arena which I'm like, that is such a Paul Heyman thing to know that and to utilize that and to leverage that. But yeah, Sandman would take like 5 minutes for this dude to get to the ring because he'd have to go through the crowd. The entire song would be playing. They'd have to at least get to that first chorus so the crowd could all sing along with him. He'd have about 3 beers before he even got to the ring. He'd be bleeding from the forehead because he'd be smashing the beer can on his forehead. I mean, the dude was a raging mess by the time he got to the ring, and that's when the match starts. Iconic entrance. And if you go back to like ECW One Night Stand, like when he was there, like you see this in full glory, just how into it and participatory this was. Like this was like verging on cult like behavior for this theme. And I'm kind of surprised that this didn't make your list, really, because you were a lot more knowledgeable about ECW than I was.
I was focusing more on WWE.
I see. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's my number 13. And what is, speaking of guys who take their time, what's your number 12?
My number 12 is the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns. I am greatness.
It takes away from something when you have to bring it down here to show.
Yeah, it really does. The frame we have is very small. It's like,
one's in the air.
But yes, the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns. I am greatness. We talked about this last episode, and I forget if this is one of the. I got to go back and watch that episode because we got off on a tangent that I think is going to become a show topic. But
what was that? Because I forgot.
I don't remember. I have to go listen to it. But what I took away, from his entrance, and we did talk about this last free range idiocy episode, is the presentation of him as this champion who would appear after some time off. Right now he's kind of in this weird spot because he's not a champion, and so he just kind of shows up conveniently for the big four sort of events: WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, Survivor Series. And when he was champion, though, it had kind of a big fight feel to it because he was a champion that wasn't around all the time. He carried himself in a particular way, and the music behind him,
at least he
really
still defended his belt,
really supported that. I feel that I feel his theme was very much anthemic of, and that's what's kind of funny is a lot of heels that we've talked about so far have gone against type and have had very anthemic songs associated with them. Because and because of that, it just kind of brings a gravitas and a bravado to them. And I think specifically in this case of Roman Reigns, like I remember when, not his current theme, but the theme that preceded him, when that would hit, for me, it was just, it really did set the tone of, the champion's about to enter into the arena. Like it just had this greatness about it. It had this aura about it. And right away, the fans would boo. They would be, engaged right away. And the song is associated with him. It, in a lot of ways, I remember when the song first debuted that, some fans were a little skeptical. So like on Cage Side Seats, which I tend to read quite a bit of, they were kind of like, yeah, it sounds like kind of a final boss, like, song in a video game, more than anything else. And yet over time, it kind of settled in and associated itself with the man who is known as the Tribal Chief. And so I find this song to be very identifiable to Roman Reigns, and it gets people excited. It gets them engaged. It fits the character, the aura of the character, has a great hook to it, and I think will always be associated with Roman Reigns. So I'm going to go number 12 with I Am Greatness. What is your number 12, sir?
My number 12, this might be a little high, but it's also because I really like the tag team, and I have an autograph.
And they recently met your daughter, apparently.
Yeah. The Dudley Boys, their Attitude Era theme. I will say, like, this one is a little bit more about the vibe. Yeah. And it's about the initial sound that you hear at the beginning, and then kind of just the vibe of the theme. You get that bomb falling whistle and the explosion, and then you just get the you just get that hard rocking theme of, and that's like, that is all you need to know about kind of the Dudleys. Like, oh crap, here are some guys who are just out here to do damage.
Someone's about to get their ass kicked.
And I just, even to this day, like, that theme goes off, people pop for it.
Yeah.
It's that initial bomb whistle is enough to be like, oh my gosh, really? Bubba Ray, Devon's here? And that's what you're looking for, instant identifiability. So that's what I got for number 12. What do you got for 11? Oh boy.
Nice.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Number 11, ladies and gentlemen. Bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum.
Also known as gassed by the time you get to the ring.
Pretty much. Number 11 is The Ultimate Warrior. I love the name of this song, Unstable. Yeah, that covers a multitude of sins right there.
A little on the nose.
Or a
little in the nose, depending on...
Well, let me tell you something, brother. But no, number 11, The Ultimate Warrior, that song will forever be associated with that character. Even though the man, Jim Hellwig, has long since passed, The Ultimate Warrior is just coupled with this song. It is, for all, really for me, for all purposes, is one of the most iconic themes, because it just somehow captured the aura and the energy of what the Ultimate Warrior character was meant to be, which was unbridled energy. Like when Hellwig would run down to the ring, and as you said, probably gassed out of his mind.
Yeah.
But putting on this show as this guy who is just ultimate, who is just, I mean, he for all intents and purposes was all gas, no brakes before Jacob Fatu, and really was presented that way. I'll never forget SummerSlam. I think it might have been 87 or 88 when they had it at I think it was at one of it was a Trump Plaza or something like that. But it was he Honky Tonk Man did some open challenge. Warrior ran down, put him away within like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And became the Intercontinental Champion. But it made perfect sense. Like when you heard the music, you're like, oh crap, Honky Tonk Man's about to get his ass kicked. Yeah. And he did. And he did in record time. I mean, it was incredible. But that was the Warrior. And we'll talk about it. I will talk about an event that I kind of picked out that really is an exemplar of this. But yeah, no, just that song just is so good, and just is so encompassing of what that character was, that it is so coupled to him that there is no person that could adopt themselves moving forward. It is the Ultimate Warrior. And so that is my number 11. What is your number 11, sir? And I feel
like we need an aid for this one.
We do, please.
It's a show favorite. It's a show favorite. It's been with us for many, many years.
Glorious. No, I won't give in till I'm
He deserves this, by the way.
And I will defend.
Amen.
Oh, we got to stick to the guitar lick here. Hang on, folks. Here we go.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh. Of course, Bobby Roode, Glorious.
Amazing.
Sweet
Amazing.
Mama Jamma. I mean, come on. How can you not get hyped for that? I'm considering making a weightlifting playlist, and it's just going to be that song like 20 times just to get me through my routine.
Now, here's the thing.
Here is the thing.
Here's the thing, and maybe this is a topic for another time. I love this theme.
Mm-hmm.
I love that this theme was for him as a character.
Mm-hmm.
However, when you watch his entrances and you see him kind of do his arms out sort of
Yeah.
thing. It does in some ways expose the thinness of his character. I wish his character had, like, part of me wishes his character kind of took on some of the notes of like Mr. Perfect or Bret Hart, where it's about excellence, where it's about, I'm about the craft of wrestling. I'm about being a perfectionist about wrestling. That is what I would associate with this theme. And I felt like during his NXT run, he had a great NXT run when he was brought into the main roster. Again, this is during the Vince era. I think he suffered because of that. And it sucks because I think Triple H would have utilized him in a different way that would have actually amped his star power up, and utilized him in more of a correct way. But there's a part of me that wishes he was presented in more of that sort of Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig style, where he was the glorious theme was about the fact that he was about the excellence of his craft. And instead it was just Bobby Roode was glorious. And I'm kind of like, well, what does that freaking mean? As great as that theme is, and as great as, I mean, look it up on YouTube, folks. His NXT entrances were legendary. Were amazing when he would come in with
people
that
were singing along.
People were singing along. They were engaged. Now, in some ways, this is the antithesis of what you want because he was a heel. And yet the crowd was like excited to see him. They were happy to see him. They were like, yes, it's Bobby Roode. And it's like, no, you should want to boo the crap out of this guy, So it's kind of working against him a little bit. But I also think that has to do with the story of the character, that I think he is a character. If he presented himself as kind of a technician, as someone who is about the craft and maybe the history of wrestling and that sort of thing, I think maybe he resonates more with that sort of thing, but they didn't present him that way. And so I think in some ways he lost a little bit because of it, but that theme is amazing. And again, so it is kind of funny. You and I have given several examples of anthemic themes that you would think are associated with a face or hero character and are instead associated with a heel character.
Yeah.
And in his case, it actually worked against him in some ways because he was cheered because of it. So
all right. Well, at this point, we are at the halfway point of our list. I'm going to have to call a 30-second timeout, and we will rejoin you. Well, if you're listening, it'll be like in 3 seconds, but in a few moments.
70 days later.
A few moments later.
All right, sir. What do you got for leading off your top 10 here?
Oh, number 10. None other than Jake the Snake Roberts. And I'm not talking about his Trust Me theme. I'm talking about the original. Oh my gosh. That theme, man, anytime that hit in the 80s, everyone was just, energized and ready to go. Or when he was a heel before he turned babyface, booing the crap out of him too. It was just the theme had everything, it really hits all the notes. I mean, it was right away something that fans knew who was coming, fit the character, especially someone who was very stealthy, very, just kind of behind the scenes and yet would strike very quickly, hit the energy and emotion. Crowd participation was there. The hook and the riff was phenomenal, and the timelessness of it is always associated with him. So Jake the Snake Roberts is rounding out my top 10 because he is one of the greatest, not just as a superstar, but his theme definitely is emblematic of who he was in the ring. What is your number 10, sir?
I'm going to go with another classical turn. Macho Man Randy Savage going with Pomp and Circumstance as his entrance theme. This just goes to show just how influential Macho Man Randy Savage was, that they play his theme song at every graduation, coast to coast, in this great nation of ours.
Oh, yeah.
The man, perhaps not a traditional Rhodes Scholar, but, a genius nonetheless. Again, another theme that is this weird sort of thing. Like, you don't think that this would work. Like, it's not really, like, it's regal. but it's not dynamic in this way. It's just kind of there, but yet the person, the character is so bursting with energy and possibly cocaine.
It fits it. Yeah.
It balances. So it's such a great fit for the character, but almost no one else could pull that off.
No.
I would actually say no one else could pull that off.
Yep.
I don't even think Ric Flair could pull that off, because he needed a little bit of that sort of dynamicism that comes with his theme. This Pomp and Circumstance just kind of rolls. It's just there. Take it from me as someone who played it for like 3 years straight at the University of New Hampshire graduation ceremony for $50, or was it 50 or $100 to play in the band and basically play Pomp and Circumstance for like 20 minutes. Believe me, it don't go nowhere, folks. It don't go nowhere. Musically, dynamically, nothing. It just is. And it works for this dude. So, I mean, gotta give credit to that for the combo. What do you got for number 9?
My number 9 is our current undisputed WWE champion, the reigning, defending champion, his theme, Kingdom, Cody Rhodes. And I will get into this later on when we talk about famous event entrances, because
wrestling has more than one royal family.
Honestly, I was shocked when that theme was used at WrestleMania 38. And I'm kind of jumping ahead to what I was going to say for that part of our show, but I did not think he was going to be allowed to use that theme. And had he not been, I think that would have very much hindered the growth and the ability for him to land with fans as
now. Was he using that in AEW?
He was.
Okay.
Yep. But he was also using that in New Japan. He was using that in TNA. So he was using that overall wherever he went. It was kind of
inextricably.
Thank you. Associated with him. I don't know if he owns the licensing to it. I assume he does, because of the fact he's been able to carry it across so many different promotions. But that to me, and I'll get into this later, but that to me was the fact that really kind of established him and allowed him to, kind of rise up along with the work he did in WWE after that. I think there are a few different things that get him vaulted into the main event, sort of category that he is in now. But the fact that he was able to keep that American Nightmare gimmick and the theme song associated with it was huge. And there's a major crowd participation factor in that. There's that obvious, when he kind of goes, whoa, that whole thing. Crowd is into it 110%. I mean, as soon as his theme hits, everyone knows who it is. It fits his character. There's energy there. Crowd's into it. And it's always going to be associated to him. There's no one else that can have that theme. And so my number 9 is the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes with Kingdom. What is your number 9, sir?
So just to tag on to that, apparently they wrote that specifically for him. It's a band called Downstate.
Yep.
And it was written specifically for him. I guess the folks in the band were already fans of his. So that might explain why he's able to, maybe there's a cut rate sort of thing they're doing, or they're like, yeah, we'll give you permission to use it. Stuff like that. And maybe the licensing isn't that arduous, but then again, I mean, if something tells me it's not like some jobber jabroni is coming in. Like they're like, yeah, we're investing quite a bit of money in Cody. I guess we can pay a couple bucks a few shekels to have his theme that he likes. But yeah, so that's interesting. I didn't really know that.
Yeah.
My number 9 is going to be Mick Foley, Wreck, which is the crashing car.
Oh yeah.
Which is again, it's not his first theme in the WWE, but it became the most identifiable, especially when he turned face, and this is kind of much more of an upbeat sort of thing, and it was really it seemed like the one he used the longest in his career, at least in WWF. And yeah, I just always thought this was a great theme, like in the same way that it's kind of basic, but it has that readily identifiable riff.
Yep.
That carries him to the ring. And then if you need more, there is kind of a cool little B section in there. But no, I always really like that theme. And when I was creating wrestlers on different, video games and stuff, that was always a favorite of mine to throw in there. Is like, yeah, that's a good one to use for anything. Oh boy.
Well done, sir. Well done.
Oh boy. I can see number 8. I'm not going to dig, but go right ahead with it. What do you got for number 8?
Number 8. Burn it down.
I hate this theme.
You may hate it, but my goodness, whether he's a heel or a face, the crowd is into it because.
And here's the thing: it's the same thing that we've talked about with like Bobby Roode and stuff.
Yep.
It detracts as a heel.
Yes.
It needs
he's
to go.
supposed to be a heel now, but they still do it, and that is a problem.
And whether he's conducting them or not, yeah, and it's a decision that should have been made by a bunch of people who are actually in this industry and not a couple of jabronis like me and you from the outside looking in. They should have known. Like, oh, son of a bitch. I can't remember the character's name in Ocean's 11. You better goddamn know. He's going to,
oh gosh.
Yeah.
Hold on.
This thing used to be civilized. They'd hit you and then you'd be dead. But he'll kill you. Then he'll go to work on you. Ruben. Oh my gosh, yes, Ruben. Such a great character.
They kill you, and then they work you over.
Then they'll go to work on you. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you need a crew as crazy as you. Who you got in mind?
Yep.
Anyways, yeah, go ahead. But you go ahead with why it's a good theme, because it is.
I mean, when you look at kind of those factors of what makes a great theme, I mean, everyone knows right away who it is.
Mm-hmm.
It fits his character as that arrogant, heel or face, and even when he was a baby face, there was an arrogance about him, there's energy there with it. Crowd gets into it. They sing along with it. I mean, that's huge. Like him or hate him. I mean, as long as the audience is engaged, that's what you're going for. And so, and it's got a memorable hook into it. And it is, one of those themes that is always going to be associated with him. So yes, if they were to change to something different, it would maybe play into his heelish persona more. But I do think there's an element of them not wanting to move away from it because it is so identifiable to him. And so, so Seth Rollins, his now again, his theme has changed significantly because back, 10 years ago, it was, burn it down. And it was, it was kind of a really strong guitar, sort of theme to it and had some carryover, I think, from his Shield days. And that was his theme for a long time. And then they changed it when he turned into this more over the top character. They changed it into this, that whole thing. It's possible he could change again based on, the faction he's a part of now and the character they're trying to build for him now. So it'll be interesting, but burn it down is always going to be, I think, associated with Seth Rollins. And so I would like to think that would remain a part of him no matter what theme he has. But right now that theme is his. It engages the crowd. They know who it is and they are into it. So your number 8, sir, though, runs a very close first or second to Seth Rollins because the crowd is into it when his theme hits.
Just to tag on with what you said, though, you mentioned way, way, way back at the beginning of this show that, often wrestlers don't change for a big show.
Yeah. Yep.
Seth's wifey, I don't want to be dismissive because his wife is one of the most decorated and revered women wrestlers in the history of the business. So I apologize for making light of that. Becky Lynch changed her theme for SummerSlam and her match against Lyra Valkyria.
Yep.
And went away from the peppy, upbeat, they're both OOOs. Oh my gosh. Like, how tacky is that? Like, are we just totally making these two like how is she not in the faction yet is I guess what I want to know. But I think that there is a precedent for this. Like, you got to change the music. Like, it's readily identifiable. You can say, oh, it works, this and that. Not everybody can pull that off, and especially when you have a hook that everybody's singing along to, like, it's got to go. Everything's got to go. But
Yep.
that's just my thing. But my number 8 is Randy Orton voices a song that apparently the WWE was trying to get him away from back when Def Rebels started doing all the themes and then was roundly disliked by everybody on the planet. And Randy was like, no, I shan't be doing that. Where this really hit me, and I think, funnily enough, because Randy Orton has been so like kind of, we've remarked a couple times over the last year or two, he is so living on house money right now and just enjoying himself, like when he's in front of a crowd. But when they had that first pay-per-view in France, and then the pay-per-view in Germany, and the crowd is not only singing along every lyric of the song, but damn near drowning out the PA system.
Yeah. Yep.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
And people have started doing it in the US too. Like for the shows, like you can hear people singing along with his theme, and it fits the character. You know, not just the fact that he's hearing these voices or whatever, but just the methodicalness of and just how heavy it is just fits his character so well, especially now that the dude is like roughly like 300 pounds of just friggin' solid muscle. It just fits who he is as a character, and you see him come down, you're like, yeah, that's some music that ought to be playing for a dude who looks like that. Yeah, no, that perfect. 10 out of 10, no notes. Yeah, and it's a kick-ass song too. How can you not love that song?
Yeah.
You know?
And it's interesting to know the backstory too, that CM Punk's what the heck is that song?
What was when he first came in, right?
Yeah, let me look it up real quick.
You've mentioned it a couple times. I'm surprised you don't remember. But then again, I don't remember. But yeah, that was originally intended for Orton, right?
Yeah, The Fire Burns by Killswitch Engage. That was actually intended for Orton, believe it or not, and it was given to CM Punk. Which
wow, that would have been interesting seeing Cena come out to that.
That would have.
That's a whole other career right there. You want to talk about like multiverses splintering?
Oh yeah, yeah. But it is interesting to know that Orton was destined for that theme, or originally planned for that theme, but destined for another one, and yet it still worked. I mean, honestly, when that theme first came out, I didn't like it. I didn't like the whole idea of I hear voices in my head and they make me do stuff, and it was just kind of like he actually cut a promo about that, early on when he first adopted that theme, and I'm kind of like, what the hell are we doing here? It's like, for me, wrestling has to be somewhat grounded in reality a little bit, and that was kind of like, okay, I guess, mental health is not something that, I would take lightly, but I also don't think should be turned into some fictional prop either, so,
true.
But that is what they've done with Randy. So, but my number 7 goes from the psychotic to the more grounded, because it is, dun, 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 dun. I mean, just right on that. Well, as soon as I do that, most people will think of, oh yeah, that's John Cena.
Even your wife knows.
Indeed. Bum, bum, bum. Oh, great. Now I got that song stuck in my head. But it is, your time is up. My time is now. Ladies and gentlemen, you can't see me. My time is now. But got to go, now that we're in the top 10, like these themes are inextricably, just attached to the people that they belong to. And Cena is looking back now across this year, credit to WWE and him for not trying to do his heel turn up too much by, back when he first turned heel, you and I were all like, oh, they should go with Bad Man. I think it would have been cool. I think it would have been a moment. But the fact they kept it, the same theme for him and just completely dulled out the video and everything else around it was a huge impact to, his heel turn, because it made him very dull. It made him very plain and vanilla. And I thought that was a great touch. And when he switched away from that and came back and became, babyface Cena at SummerSlam, when all of a sudden the colors appeared the crowd was just incensed. I mean, and not in a bad way. I mean, in a great way. They were like, yes, our hero is back.
Yeah.
And that was such a great touch. You know, I mean, I think, I don't know. I still would like to see a reality where Bad Bad Man was the theme. You know, I know we play it on the show sometimes and joke about it and that sort of thing, but I think it would have been kind of cool to see that that song associated with heel Cena as opposed to him keeping his normal theme. But there it is. You done did it now, Chaos.
Undid it.
Should have kept it in the vault.
Should have kept.
Oh, you done did it now.
And you did.
Chaos,
Tell him, John.
put this one in the vault, man.
Rev it up,
They
baby.
not ready. They don't know what's coming.
Throw it in the first.
Oh, we gonna drop this on them right here. Y'all ain't ready for this.
Come on, take the foot off the brake. Here we go.
Your boys are bad, man.
There it is.
Then we invading the streets, make them clap around
Tell
the
'em.
skirt. They be dropping the heat.
Preach
Shot
it.
the world, now I'm standing alone. I flip fools like them clamshells.
Oh my
cellular
gosh, this
phones.
thing rocks, baby.
Nod your head to the track. The water down,
This
right?
needed some
Take it
air to
back.
breathe in. You know what I mean? Like they should have brought this out at some point for his heel turn, but
Maybe we'll get it at some point.
maybe.
Probably not.
But nonetheless, that would be great in his final match. In his final match, if that is what he comes out to, like, folks,
It's not happening.
I know. It won't. But no, my time is now is just so related to him and is just such a part of his character that it really defines him. And so I put this at number 7. Would have liked to have put it higher, but as I said to Uncle Todd, as you get higher in this list, it starts to bleed or blend into what is your Mount Rushmore of wrestling.
Yes.
It's very hard because like we said, the themes are very tightly coupled to the people those themes represent. And when you think about superstars and wrestlers who have really defined the genre, you start to get into rarefied air, and it's hard to separate the theme from who are the greatest wrestlers because those things are so coupled. So, what is your number 7, sir, in this one? And I am 100% behind you on this. With this pick, go for it.
The only shame is that I couldn't put this one at number 1 because Mommy always should be on top. Rhea Ripley,
I gotta hold this up
in
for
your
her.
dreams. I think unquestionably the top female wrestler on the planet and one of the top 5 wrestlers, regardless of gender, on the planet. Rhea Ripley has made this entrance, like the combination of the music, and the music already is badass. Just from that first scream of "This is my brutality," then having her come in, doing that friggin' stomp, and then not even that. More so than the stomp, more than the walk in, more than the energy of all that. It's the look after the stomp.
Yeah.
That is the thing that is this weird mixture of like scary, sexy, and probably someone's going to get hurt. You know what I mean? Like it's this, there's a mixture of things going on there.
Yes.
And that is the character. And I can totally understand when she talks about, and this is like the person behind, the performer behind Rhea Ripley, talking about being anxious and all these things. But as soon as the music hits, she's like, the character is there. I can totally understand this with this song. Fantastic overall presentation. It fits with who the character is, and apparently, obviously fits in with who the performer is, because this is one of her favorite bands. And to me, that's like so cool when you're in a position where you can be like, I want to have music for when I come out and do my job, and I get to ask, I get to have that be a song performed by one of my favorite bands.
Yeah.
Damn, that's about as cool as it gets.
Yep.
So yeah, Rhea Ripley, bang.
She belongs in the top 10. I mean, she is
without a doubt.
I would say Becky Lynch is probably a close second, but I put this on WWE, but I think when it comes to women's themes, they could do better.
Oh, totally.
They could do better.
Totally.
But Rhea Ripley, 110%. I mean, let's say she's in a mixed tag with CM Punk. All right, which who we haven't talked about yet. And let's say Punk comes out first.
Mm-hmm.
Her pop does not get impacted by the fact that he comes out first. When her music hits, that crowd goes freaking crazy.
Well, no, it would be her coming out first.
She
does a stomp and does the look.
Honestly, I think she does it. I think it's reversed. I think he comes out first. I think it's her that comes out second because she is a freaking bona fide star. He is the guy who is on his way out.
No doubt. I'm sure that it would be his suggestion, but I'm saying for what ratings and business is.
Yeah.
And the fact is, she would not suffer from it whatsoever.
No.
She's going to get her pop, and then you could have her do the stomp and the look, and then and it'd be fine.
Fair enough. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, oh God. Now you've just unlocked like one thing that I now want to see. Because apparently, like, they're doing these interviews and stuff and like press together, and I'm like, they actually seem to get along pretty well.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of, damn it, can we get that?
Yep.
Please, Papa Paul, can we get that?
100%.
All
right. My number 6 is If You Smell What the Rock is Cooking. Now, there's a lot more pauses in there, and there's a lot more lightning and thunder that happens, but nonetheless,
now,
The Rock, your role.
Are you going with like the OG Attitude Era, or are you going kind of like the final boss version that we have now?
I'm kind of going with the OG version, like just the, boom, dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. I mean, I think The Rock is inextricably, connected with that, and it is such a part of his character. Now, they have, yes, as you pointed out over the years, modified and amplified and added more dead space in and thunder and lightning and crap into the whole thing, but nonetheless, it is a very similar theme, and it is iconic with The Rock. He is the people's champion. He is, an icon. But and I would say his theme is such a defining aspect of him that if he were to go to something else, it would damage the character. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the guys and gals in this top 10. I don't know that you can ever change their theme because, Seth Rollins being the exception, potentially. But otherwise, most of these folks in the top 10 are, I think, locked into their theme because it is such an identifiable part of who they are that when that theme hits, the crowd knows exactly who's about to come out, exactly what's about to happen. And that's what gets them energized and fired up for what's about to come because they know what is associated with that character. And so The Rock, Know Your Role, number 6 is and it's tough because, when you get in the top 5, it's kind of like your Mount Rushmore. And I want The Rock to be there, but there's a couple individuals that I have to, put higher than him. So what is your number 6, sir?
Number 6, Kane. Slow Chemical.
It's got to be Kane.
Just you get that organ, that and instantly. And that in the lighting, going to all red lighting.
Oh,
and then you get the explosive pyro, and then you get this kind of lazy guitar part that's like, it's ominous.
So good.
And it fits perfectly with this character who is, just a big red wrecking machine. That is, it fits that character so well. And just, there is a feeling of dread, that I would put on the level. Well, no, I would say I would put Bray Wyatt or the Fiend on the level of Kane because you can't outdo the OG. But yeah, and a big part of that was the music. It just totally set the mood for this guy. So yeah, number 6 for me is Kane. It's got to be Kane. Who you got at number 5? Oh, one of Mr. Avery's favorites, if I remember correctly.
Getting in the top 5, ladies and gentlemen. Shawn Michaels, I'm a sexy boy. Sexy boy.
It's so bad when he's coming out to this now and as a 50-year-old. It's like
it hasn't aged well, has it?
You got like one functional hip. Like maybe you could like overdub it like sexy senior citizen and something.
But and honestly, he wasn't on my list as of last night, but when I was, seeing your list and thinking about it and stuff like that, I'm thinking to myself, holy crap, like, that song, like, oh, Sean, like, that is iconic. Again, even though he's an authority figure now and he's more involved in kind of the developmental side of things,
and he's getting mail from AARP.
Well, that as well. That song is so tightly coupled to him, and he is one of the all-time greats. I mean, he is Mr. WrestleMania. Even though he, doesn't perform anymore, he was always Mr. WrestleMania. His matches were unparalleled. When crowds would hear his music, they knew who was about to walk the aisle, and they get off their, chairs, they get on their feet, and they are cheering for this guy because he is one of the all-time greats.
And has he ever changed since going on a singles run? Like, this has been his music forever.
Yeah, so his music has existed both for him as a heel and as a babyface. That's the crazy part. Like, he's never had to change. And to me, that's what makes him one of the all-time greats, is that the fact that his music can stay the same and he can change allegiances, if you will,
if you will,
makes it that much more impressive to me, because in the case of, like, you think about someone like Seth Rollins, I'm trying to think. Actually, no one I've listed on my list has had to change their theme too much, but Michaels has never had to change. He has changed as a character. So when his theme hits, I'm sorry, potentially when DX's theme would hit when he was a heel, that would play up. But when he fought like Stone Cold Steve Austin, for example, that was his theme. I believe. I don't. No, actually, I'm wrong. That was DX. DX's theme played when he came out to fight Stone Cold at WrestleMania 14, I think it was. So I'm wrong there. But nonetheless, both as a babyface and a heel, Shawn Michaels, I'm a Sexy Boy, has been consistent. It is connected with the audiences. It is definitely brought out the energy of the crowd. It has identified him, and it is connected to him. And so I have that as my number 5. What is your number 5, sir?
Well, it appears that my number 5 and your number 4 are the same, and I'm just going to double check here. Are we talking about the same? Well, so we're going to go with The Undertaker.
Yes.
And I'm guessing we're kind of going with what a lot of people agree is kind of the prime Undertaker theme. So you get the gongs.
Yes.
And the kind of
organ music.
Yeah. So good. And again, so befitting the character.
Yes.
Fits the character to a T. And I believe this is the music that he came back when he finally came back to being the Dead Man.
Yes.
After a few years as the
not the American Badass music. No,
yeah.
This was the original, the OG.
Which, I mean, had its charm at that time back in the late 90s when a lot of us, thought that Kid Rock was cool. And I kind of put that up to like a group hallucination at this point.
Kid Rock was copacetic. That is no more.
No. Uncle Meth Head is what I like to call him now. But
there you go.
But yeah, no, like it just fits this character to a T. It's 10 out of 10, no notes. Like, it is letter perfect. I don't know what else you want for this character. Just and the fact that there is, in a way, it's kind of funny because there is so much space in this. Like, there is a lot of breathing room. There's a lot of time that nothing is happening musically, and not a lot's happening, on the ramp, because it would take Undertaker, a good damn long time to get to the ring. So it's that anticipation, it's the tension that's building, as you're just watching this guy who, like, I think Mick Foley described like this. It's like 6.5 foot tall John Wayne just swaggering slowly to the ring to come dole out your ass kicking. It's like, gah! Kind of freaky. And that worked for the character. Absolutely perfect. What do you have to say about it, sir?
Sorry about Undertaker.
Yeah.
It is probably, I mean, it's really hard. Like, I want to make this, probably closer to number 1 because it is so iconic of the character. Like it is so tied to him, and the crowd knows exactly when they hear that gong what's about to happen. There is no question who is about to come down the aisle. And that is true for a lot of these themes, but there's something about that gong that is just so, and you and I have both read online or in books, like specifically like Mick Foley, for example, talk about what it's like to be in the ring when you hear that gong hit. And again, these are guys who know Mark Calloway as a human being. They know who they're about to face, and they've, they have a sense of what the match is going to be. And yet when that gong hits, there's goosebumps. Yes. Now, you and I have no idea what that feels like. Like, we're not in an arena when this hits, where we've never experienced what that's like.
And simultaneously the lights go out, and
yeah. And for him to come down as a competitor to that music and what that means. And it's so funny how many times you hear that quoted by people who have faced him in the ring about how memorable that is.
Mm-hmm.
And those are people who are his opponents, not fans. I mean, it's one thing to be a fan who hears that and it's like, oh my God, it's The Undertaker. It's another thing when it's someone who's actually like competed in a ring against him and had to put on a show, put on a match, tell a story. And they're like, yeah, I had goosebumps on my arm when this guy's music hit. I mean, it really speaks to the aura of the character and the aura of the music and what that creates. And so for me, for you, it's your number 5. For me, it's my number 4. But it is, The Undertaker, rest in peace, is just such an iconic part of that character. And he is forever, woven into the fabric of WWE and wrestling as a whole. I mean, especially because of his streak. There's no wrestler who has that kind of legacy to look back on. There's wrestlers who have held the championships. There are wrestlers who have, maybe had achievements in special gimmick matches, but The Undertaker stands alone as a guy who had a streak going on for a period of time at a particular event that became something people look forward to. And it was broken by Brock Lesnar. And but it's always going to be associated to The Undertaker. And if anyone tries to break it, it's always going to be in the shadow of that. Even if someone were to break that record, if someone were to go on, 22-0 or 23-0 or whatever, they'll achieve it. But to me, it'll always be in the shadow of him, because he was the one that trailblazed that. You know, like no other wrestler had made performing an event and being a part of it, part of their gimmick, more than he did. And I just think that's very emblematic of who he is as a major part of the industry.
Well, and this is an example of like when you get to something that is that iconic, bits of it can become iconic. Like it can fracture to the point where like just a little bit of it can be, standalone. Example, WrestleMania 40.
Yeah.
Did Undertaker's theme play? Nope. We just got the gong, and all of a sudden
all you hear was the gong
standing there.
Yes.
And then the gong again, and he's gone.
Yes. Yep.
Like, holy shit! That like the gong is iconic.
Yeah.
Insane. All right, so where does that put us now? That puts me at
so Undertaker was my number 4. We don't have to go any more into it. Your number 4 is The Rock, Know Your Role.
Yep, which basically I am going to actually just briefly put in my card for the updated final boss version of this, because it did manage to actually elevate it, not in just bringing the key up a little bit, but the extra kind of space, the lightning and all that, and then coming in with this, just that key change and kind of giving you like a little juice of power to it, is kind of cool. And it's a way that you can actually update the theme without having to do like WWE did in like the late 90s, early 2000s, where like, let's do a new metal version of it. Kids will love it.
Yeah.
Like you kind of just managed to polish it up and gussy it up a little bit. So, but yeah, as soon as you hear that, if you smell, come on, it's a given, who's coming down the aisle.
Oh yeah.
Who's your number 3?
Now we're getting into rarefied air, my friend. This is I Am the Game. Yes, indeed. This is The Game by Lemmy and the Boys for Triple H.
Time to play the game.
Time to play the game.
Oh my God. Lemmy's Marlboro Red laugh.
Oh my gosh. So tied to the man.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll talk about later some events where that is highlighted and emphasized, but that theme, the game, just so tied to Triple H, and is a big part of establishing him. Yes, as a babyface, it was a cool theme. People like to cheer for it, but man, as a villain, it really established him as a killer. And that is one of the times where I felt like in a lot of ways the music makes the man. I think his first theme, My Time, was really good. I thought it was really good for him as a heel and a first time champion. But when he adopted, Lemmy doing and the band doing The Game, with Motorhead there, that to me kind of solidified him as a heel. It was just such a dark and guttural sort of theme for the man that is known to take his opponents apart, not only physically but psychologically, and so I thought it was a great theme for him, and is so tied to the man. There is he's one of the few that could pull off multiple, and I think you had at one point, I think in your when we were doing a special mentions, you had mentioned this, but he's one of the few where King of Kings, which is another Motorhead theme, can be brought out and works for him. But I think even like that theme still for fans, I don't know that it's locked in as, oh, this is Triple H. I think there's that identifiable aspect to it. Whereas The Game is undeniable that, okay, yeah, I know who's about to come out.
I still say that when he did his first, I forget what it was, but when he came out right after Vince had essentially left.
Yeah.
And he came out, and it's like, again, like here is where the entrance can tell a story. Did he come out to the game? Nope. Triple H came out to address the crowd as King of Kings. There's a message there. Like, I'm finally in charge, yeah, except it's bigger than the belt at that point. Like, now I run the whole effing thing. Yeah, no, a fantastic choice. I did have King of Kings on my list, but of course, in all of the changes, I had to make a choice. And well,
Todd is known for making changes.
Triple H will be well represented in the bonus round, so I didn't feel too bad about shortchanging Paul there. For my number 3, I'm going to dig way back on this one, and it's
I Am a Real American.
Yep.
Fight for the rights of every man.
Hulk Hogan, Real American, which oddly enough, trivia bit, and I'm sure you know this, began life as the theme song for the U.S. Express. And very quickly got moved over to Hulk Hogan. Like, I don't know if it lasted for them for more than a couple months.
It's like the reverse Randy Orton CM Punk sort of thing. It actually got shifted to the bigger star. So it's kind of funny.
But this is one of those things where, like, however I feel about Hulk Hogan as a person and as a truth teller, the entrance theme song is iconic. Like, you cannot get away from this theme song. Like, you hear it and there is a reaction to it. Unfortunately, the last time the man was played onto TV by it, it didn't go well, but still, I will contend that, like, when the music started, there was a giant pop. And then they saw Hogan and they're like, oh yeah, right. F this guy. I forgot. The music, like, literally, it was like this, knee jerk reaction to jump up and cheer. And then, like, oh, wait a minute, I forgot. Boo to you. But I mean, back in the 80s and the 90s, like, you heard Real American and it was just, it was just a, cheer your ass off situation. That's just the way it worked.
Yep.
And yeah, it was just, iconic, and it has to be represented. I feel like, and I totally understand you dropping it off your list. I dropped the Game off of my list. Sexy Boy, Cena. Like, I kind of utilized your list in the same way we do these sometimes, where it's like, oh, you got that covered. Okay, cool. That opens up a spot for me. This is when I'm like, I've got to put this on here. I have to.
Yep.
Our final two spots for each of us is not that case. We are kind of at odds here, and I think an interesting way to finish up this list would be for us to make the case for our number ones, because they also happen to be each other's number twos. So your number two is Stone Cold Steve Austin's Glass Shatters, his OG Attitude Era theme, I'm assuming.
Yes.
That also is my number one. And my number two is CM Punk's Cult of Personality by Living Colour, which is your number one.
Yes.
Please give me the case of why Cult of Personality should be over Glass Shatters, because they're both iconic. There's no argument there.
Yeah.
Like, they both belong at the top of the list, if not at the top of the list. But why would you put one over the other, I guess, is my thought in question.
So, a couple reasons. One, if you want to compare, the impact and longevity of these themes, you cannot make the argument for Stone Cold that his theme was able to resonate with a completely different company's audience as CM Punk's. CM Punk went to AEW. When his theme hit, he got what is arguably one of the loudest pops you and I have both ever really. And again, we weren't in the arena when this happened. We were watching it on the live broadcast, but we both were kind of like, holy crap, we don't think either of us have ever heard a crowd this over for someone.
Not like since Austin or
not since Austin.
Rock.
100%.
So can you just help me out here? Because I can't. So Cult of Personality became his theme song in WWE.
Yes. So that happened in the, I want to say either in 2010 or 2011. I don't remember. I think it was in 2010. They did an angle where he beat, no, I'm sorry, it was in 2011. He beat John Cena, and I'll talk about this. This is one of my famous event entrances. But he beat John Cena at the 2011 Money in the Bank. He came back. I think he lost the belt to Alberto Del Rio in a different event, won it back later that year. And but once he came back from SummerSlam, once he came back from Money in the Bank, because supposedly Punk was like done with WWE at that point. The storyline there was his contract ran out. He signed a new contract. He came back at SummerSlam. From that point in 2011 on, it was Cult of Personality. When he came back, it was Cult of Personality. It was no longer the Fire Burns. And it has never been anything other than Cult of Personality since then. So that has been associated with him. Like we're in 2025 now. So 14 years, that song has been connected with him, even though he was out of the wrestling industry for about 7 of those years. And that theme evokes such emotion from fans. You and I both have references to this in our famous event entrances, which we'll talk about. Now Stone Cold arguably is up there in the conversation as the GOAT. His theme again is undeniable. When you hear that glass shatter, you know who exactly is coming, who's about to come out from behind the curtain, who's going to walk the aisle. and it is so tied to his character. It checks all the boxes. Same with CM Punk. I'm not saying the fact that Punk went to another company is what puts him over the edge, but I think, the fact that it is, essentially a pop culture tune is a tune that is on the order of almost 35 years old. And Austin's is not. Austin's kind of came out in 98, 99. So it's about 10 years younger than what Punk is playing with. Has been across two companies, and the fans react in a very similar way to it. And it is an identifiable part of who these superstars are. And so I give the nod to Punk just because, it could be recency bias. It could also be the fact that theme, that's what amazes me. It's like when you think about 35 years old or 30, somewhere between 30 and 35 years old, you're talking about something like a Zeppelin tune or a Beatles tune being relevant in the 80s and 90s as an entrance theme for a wrestler.
True. Yeah.
And that to me is amazing. It's more a credit to Living Color than it is to Punk in a lot of ways.
Of course. They've written a timeless song.
It is timeless. It is. Even when I was I remember distinctly, I never gave my kids a background on Punk or anything, but I remember when WrestleMania 41, and we'll get to it in a moment here, but when 41's sequence played where they did, the background on Punk, which I thought was really smart because, there may be some fans that still aren't kind of in the know about him. And then he comes out to Living Color. When he comes out, they were engaged. I was looking over at my kids and they were both locked into the TV. What is this guy about and his song and everything? There's something about the song that kind of pulled them in, snapped them out of looking at their phones. And they were like, oh crap, this is interesting. I'm not saying that couldn't happen with Austin, but I find it interesting. It just happened, in that scenario. And so, that's why I put him over the edge. Punk is in my top 5 regardless, but it was very hard to put him over Stone Cold. And I'm sure if we were to have Phil Brooks on, he would be like, hell no, Stone Cold is over me any day of the week. But, because, he strikes me as that humble of a guy, but I am such a fanboy for him. And to me, he really is one of the last vestiges of someone who, when he retires, I'm not saying I'm walking away, I'll walk away from wrestling or anything like that, but I'm really hard pressed to think of another superstar who organically I connect with as someone I want to emotionally get into when they get into a match. You know what I mean? His story, his background, his journey is something that I have always anchored to. And and that's one of the reasons why I'm such a big fan of his, is because it's very entertaining for me to see the kid from Chicago who really worked his way through the independents to the big time and is finally he's had to work through management. He's had to work through all this friction. That to me is a compelling story.
Oh yeah, totally.
And I'm not saying the other guys haven't, but there's something about his story as a guy who didn't, he had no family connections to the industry. He literally worked his way from the ground up, to build his fan base and to build up to what he is. And I think that song kind of exemplifies that in him, that he is this personality that people just feel drawn to because he is so genuine and so sincere in his motives. And, Stone Cold, it's hard because Stone Cold as well is, another, again, in a lot of ways, they're both very similar. Steve Austin also worked his way up. He had no connection to the industry, no family, no any ties, and he had to work his way through a lot of friction to get to being one of the greats of all time. And so I think
a lot of friction in another company.
Friction in other companies, absolutely. So it doesn't surprise me that you and I have them both as the top 2, because I think organically they are fan favorites because of their story. And for me, I put Punk over Austin. You put Austin over Punk. But both of them benefit from a theme that genuinely kind of communicates who they are as wrestlers and as individuals. And they get us hyped for them to appear and to perform, and that's all one can ask for the music that accompanies a performer. But what, sir, is your rationale behind Stone Cold going over on Punk?
First of all, I just got to say, damn, you got me convinced. That was eloquent and passionate, and I don't know that I cannot refute anything that you said. I cannot refute any aspect of the case that you presented because, like I said, it basically convinced me. And I'm sitting over here going, well, shit, I screwed this up.
God damn it.
What I will say is, for me, I will latch on to what you said, is that if you had Phil Brooks if we were to have Phil Brooks on the show, in which case my first question would be like, what the hell are you doing here with us chuckleheads? Don't you have something more important? Shouldn't Larry be getting taken out for a pee or something? Like, that's way more important than this. Second, but I think that if you were to ask him that question, he would be like, no, Stone Cold should be first.
Yeah.
Unquestionably.
Yep.
And I think part of that is because let me make another musical parallel. And actually I'll use two, utilizing one person and two others. I love Steve Ray Vaughan. One of my probably my favorite guitar player of all time. Maybe Albert King is first, but that's kind of odd too because Stevie stole a lot of stuff from Albert. But love Steve Ray Vaughan. Love the man's passion. Love the way that every single thing that he played, it felt like he meant every single note, and the same way he sang. I love Steve Ray Vaughan's cover of Voodoo Child. To me, it is bombastic. It is fantastic. It is loud. It is just energetic. But Jimi wrote it. Jimi Hendrix wrote it. Like it Steve Ray Vaughan doesn't get to cover it so well if Jimi Hendrix didn't write the song in the first place. And Jimi Hendrix's version is amazing. They're both, to me, like I have nothing to pick at with either one. They're fantastic in their own rights. And as far as a cover, like I don't know that you get much better than of a cover that pays homage and everything else. I love Steve Ray Vaughan's cover of Superstition. Taking a song that is so identifiable with an artist and kind of managing to put your own spin on it and while still honoring everything about it. I will still defend that I love the the Stevie Wonder version. That without Stevie Wonder's version, which actually, funny enough, Jeff Beck actually wrote a hearty portion of that. But without the original, you don't get the great cover. And I would maintain that a lot of what we see in Stone Cold Steve Austin, you don't have that anti-hero. You don't have that character who basically just goes out there looking for a fight and doesn't care what the hell you have to say. Doesn't care if you boo or cheer him. Doesn't care if, any of that. He's just out there and he's, authority, basically like, what are you going to rebel against? What do you got? All of those things, like the DNA of that, is what spawned CM Punk. Now it's way different. He put his own unique spin on it, and it is uniquely Phil Brooks CM Punk.
Mm-hmm.
But I could contend without Stone Cold Steve Austin, you don't get that character. The same as part of the Stone Cold character is like you hear that shattering glass, and you're like, oh shit! As good old JR, business is about to pick up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It told you everything you need to know about it. The shattering of glass, just that sound told you everything you need to know about this character. Like something is going to happen, and it's probably not going to be good.
Yeah,
and the fact that the rest of the theme is it's not musically fantastic. Jim Johnson is just this. It's just this guitar riff.
Yeah,
but man, it's. That is what Austin was too. Austin was no frills, black trunks, black boots. maybe a vest, later on a bunch of black knee braces. But that's all he needed. Like, he didn't need a fancy robe, all that. It's just a guy in black trunks who's going to come down and whoop your ass. Pretty simple. And I, there is something about, the CM Punk character is very similar to that. It coming out in just, kind of raggedy outfits and stuff like that. Like, it works.
Mm-hmm.
So in that way, I kind of defer to Stone Cold, because if you don't have the OG, you don't get the nice cover. And in a way, there's a lot of CM Punk that is a very, and I don't say this in a negative way at all. I'm not saying he copied or anything like that. It is a loving, painstaking tribute to a character like Stone Cold. So I guess that's where I have to put that number one for me.
Okay. I mean, it's a subjective thing, right? So,
totally. Yep.
I struggled with it, and like I said, it could be recency bias because Punk is still active, and we'll talk in a moment about some famous, event entrances. But, to me, I mean, just the fact you and I both have them in the top two, they are two guys who worked their rear, and I'm not saying the others didn't, but I'm just saying these two both had a story front and center about their struggles. Steve Austin is well documented. He was, mistreated in WCW. He was a rising star there. Back in my college days when I had TBS and WCW Saturday Night was on, he was must see viewing for me. Like, I literally was looking forward to a Steve Austin match because he stood out so much from what I saw on that show. And when he ended up leaving, and then later on seeing how he went to WCW and then made his way to WWE and, started out with that awful ringmaster gimmick, I'm like, oh my God, what are they doing with him?
Yeah.
Because he is so much better than this. And then when he finally grew into the Stone Cold character, I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be huge.
Yeah.
And sure enough, it was.
Well, and you talk about recency bias with CM Punk. I'll go with nostalgia bias.
Yeah.
Because this was when we had an apartment together. This was
this was the heyday when you got into it.
When I first started watching wrestling again after watching back in the 80s as a kid, I remember like how we would be watching Raw, and of course, a couple Mickey's Fine Malt Liquors into the evening, and you get to that final half hour, Stone Cold, you hear that glass shatter. There were a bunch of times I jumped up off the futon, like pumping my fist, like, oh my gosh, this show has been really good, but now we're going to get into it.
Do you remember, and I don't think I'm making this up, but do you remember, because we were both watching the night Foley won the championship. And a big part of Foley winning the championship was that glass
return of Steve Austin, yes,
and Austin coming back, and you and I were both like, "Oh my God!" Yeah, like we were like literal. I mean, again, we know it's not. Like we know it is entertainment. We know it is a show. We know whatever behind it, and yet his music hitting and seeing him appear to help this other individual who was never expected to ever achieve anything in this industry win the World Heavyweight Championship. We were both like over the moon about it.
Dude, I got shivers right now.
Man.
I got shivers right now. You describing it.
Yes.
No, but and the theme music is that thing, because it was all you need is that 1 second, and everybody knew exactly what's going on.
Yep.
It is as close to a perfect theme as I can think.
Chef's kiss.
Yes.
100%.
Oh, that was a hell of a top 20. Can we actually take a brief pause here before we get into, and I do mean brief. I'm not going to go grab a snack.
I'm not going anywhere, so I'm ready to go as soon as you get back.
Just give me one moment and we'll run down our event specific entrances.
Amen.
12 seconds later.
All right, so here we are back with our event specific entrances. Let's start with number 6. What do you got, sir?
So my number 6 is from WrestleMania 8. It is the Hulk Hogan versus Sid Justice match, but it is not either of the principals in this match. It is more what happens later in the match, which is a Papa Shango, a.k.a. Charles Wright pre-Godfather.
my gosh,
coming down to the ring to interfere, and we have the iconic tones. Dun, 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 and it is the Ultimate Warrior, who, by the way, to his credit, hauling ass down to the ring. But my God, that aisle must have been a mile if it was 2, because seeing him run.
Where was WrestleMania 8?
That is a great question.
I'll look it up. I'll look it up. You do.
But seeing him run, like coming out of the entranceway, it's like, oh my God, here comes the Ultimate Warrior. And then
Hoosier
whatever
Dome.
shot they do, what was it?
The Hoosier Domes. That was the Indianapolis Colts old stomping grounds.
That's right.
It's a long ass. It's a football stadium. That's a long ass way.
And whatever shot, the camera shot they did, you could tell he was running a long way to the ring. It was like, oh my God, is the Warrior gonna have anything left in the tank when he gets in there? And he somehow did it. He was huffing and a puffing, but he had the clothesline going, baby, and he nailed Sid Justice with not 1 but 2. I think he threw Papa Shango over the top with a clothesline as well, and helped Hogan secure. I think it was a DQ is what it ended up being. There wasn't a definitive winner to this. But,
oh my gosh, I'm watching this now. Like, yeah, that is a long ass way.
Is that not a long way? I mean, my God, he was hauling rear end.
Well, they show him coming down the aisle.
Yeah.
And the aisle is a long way. And then like they cut to the ring because like, okay, he's going to be there. And it takes another couple seconds for him to get to the ring like that. Oh, we mistimed that.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, there was a mistiming with, I think, Papa Shango. I think he was supposed to have either set something up or something was supposed to happen, and it was just all like kind of thrown off. I don't know if it was because of Warrior or because of
I just noticed Sid was just kind of meandering around the ring. Like he wasn't doing a whole lot for somebody like to have this roided up freak coming at him. He's sort of like, all right, ba-doop, da-doop, da-doop, da-doop. But yeah, no, I can the pop for that was amazing.
I mean, the crowd went absolutely ballistic, and you see him come out, and they're just like cheering him like crazy for him to go help Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact he gets in the ring and he kind of like cocks the right arm and he nails Papa Shango, and then he starts going to town on Sid Justice was just hysterical. So that is my number 6. What is your number 6, sir?
Number 6 is Edge returning at the Royal Rumble 2020 with his
nice.
"You Think You Know Me" theme, which again, like
Metalingus.
It's that thing that like that easily identifiable beginning that just people freaked the frack out about, because again, everyone kind of figured like it had been 10 years that Edge had been out of the business because of his back, and all of a sudden now you hear that, you're like, this can't be happening, but they're playing the music, so surely it is happening. And yeah, you get all the feels from that. So yeah, a great use of a theme, especially at a Rumble, and of course the Rumble is always, littered with surprise appearances, but to me that's one of my favorites, and a great theme as well. That was a really good theme for him, and it did its job here. You just got that one note pop.
Yep. 100%.
What's number 5 for you, sir?
Number 5 for me from WrestleMania 38. I think this was before the 2-night format as well, but it was the return of Cody Rhodes to WWE and taking on Seth Rollins. Leading up to this match, it was a mystery who Seth Rollins' opponent would be. Vince was going to find someone supposedly that would be a proper challenger to Seth and challenge him well. And sure enough, it was the American Nightmare who was coming back to WWE from after his both ownership stake and participation as a member of the AEW roster. What I think, and I touched on this earlier, what I think really, again, where you talk about the importance of an entrance theme, I don't know that Cody comes across as big of a star as he does unless he has that American Nightmare Kingdom theme.
Yes,
that carries over with him. Like, I honestly was shocked. Like, not shocked that he appeared, because there have been a lot of rumors that he might be coming to WWE after his contract ran out. But it was more about the fact that he was presented as the American Nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
There was very little different from what he was presented as in AEW from I mean, WWE did it more effectively, but the fact that he was still the American Nightmare, and the fact he used the same song, which seems like minor details, but honestly to me is huge, because when that music hits, the crowd really erupts, because it's like, oh my God, Cody's here.
Well, dude, think about it this way. Like, if you have Coca-Cola,
yeah,
if it's not in the bottle or the red can, it's still Coca-Cola. But there is something about saying like, oh, it's a Coca-Cola.
Yes.
You know, yeah, it's that consistency. And yeah, that was a huge part of it is the music. Huge part. And by the way, the first two-night WrestleMania was 36.
Yep. Like I'm watching it right now, and just that first little beat where it's like dun dun, wrestling has more than one world. As soon as his voice comes across, the crowd goes absolutely apeshit.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me is the point of a wrestler's entrance theme. When you can evoke that emotional reaction out of the crowd, you've got something that you need to hang on to for the rest of your career, because it is now tied to you.
Yes.
And this is less about Seth Rollins' theme, and it's really more about Cody Rhodes' theme, because I don't think anyone really, I mean, I think fans kind of suspected it might be Cody, but we didn't know. And when it was confirmed that's who it was, when he came up, or from the riser, and fans saw that it was in fact him, and he was still in the same garb he was in AEW and everything, I think I think that actually really made cemented him as a bona fide star at that event. So WrestleMania 38 to me, Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins, is an exemplar of the impact an entrances it can make to the way the fans react, especially someone who's coming back to the company. What is your number 5, sir?
I just changed it up because
I saw you just change it, because you are that kind of person.
Well, I also feel like it's worth noting after our discussion. Stone Cold returning the night Mick Foley wins the WWF Championship mid-match to kind of put the kibosh on the McMahon family, and the effective use of a theme in mid-match. Like, the match is taking place, there's people fighting, that breaking glass instantly let everybody know what was going on, and was one of the loudest pops that you're ever going to hear on television.
Yeah.
It absolutely, to the point where the pop was so loud that essentially the shattering glass was all you heard, because the music after that was completely drowned out. So I mean, it was that one note pop being used to such dramatic effect, and is one of those ways, like with the Undertaker gong, where you can utilize this as a way of, the cavalry is a coming sort of thing, or your goose is cooked, like one or the other, depending on which side of the equation you're on. But used so well, and one of the great examples of the unreality of wrestling, because why would you ever have someone, hey, play my music, so that they know I'm coming?
Mm-hmm.
But it works for the audience, and it works dramatically for the moment. So good. What do you got for number 40?
You kind of give it away. Number 40?
40. I'm sorry, number 4.
WrestleMania 40.
Hey, look at that.
The undisputed WWE champion match between the champion Roman Reigns versus the challenger Cody Rhodes. This one I listed because, not just because of Cody and Roman's theme, but because of all the other outside interference that happened, because this match was the equivalent of WWE's version of Avengers Endgame.
Run-in Rama.
You had, Run-in Rama is right. You had the Usos appear. You had John Cena appear. So when that hit, everyone got off their feet. It was incredible. You had him vanquish Solo Sikoa. You then had Seth Rollins appear, but to the
Sure Hotel.
No, I can't.
You had the Shield theme, and that got everyone off their feet. And again, to the credit of what WWE was doing there, I don't know that was their intent, but I think some fans were actually thinking they were going to see Dean Ambrose appear. Not just Seth Rollins, but Dean Ambrose, who is now in AEW as Jon Moxley. That wasn't going to happen. He's under contract with AEW. But Seth Rollins appeared. That popped the crowd big time. But the one that actually, really did it was when so you had the final boss come down. So that was his theme music. He comes down. The crowd is booing and, reacting to him as they should. And then you hear the gong. And the lights go out and they come back up, and there's the Undertaker standing behind the Rock, and he choke slams him, takes him out of the game, and now it leaves the table set for Cody to put Roman away, and he does. And the crowd goes absolutely nuts. How much of a factor did those different themes play in establishing who is about to come out, who is about to interfere and take part in all of this? Was huge. It was absolutely huge. And
because it gives you a moment to freak out and then normalize, and it's a pause. It's almost like the friggin' whatever they give you in between courses of a meal, the sorbet, to cleanse the palate, if you will, and to heighten the anticipation. What I love, and I'm sure we've talked about this before because we've talked about this a whole bunch of times, but the Cody Rhodes story about when Undertaker was supposed to do the run-in. Yeah. And it's like the gong and the lights come out, and he's like, and Taker comes in, and he's like this jungle cat. Like it was there. Like he moved way quicker than what you're expecting him to move. And he comes in, choke slams the Rock, and he's like, he kind of looks down at me, and I could kind of feel like he wanted this moment, and he winked at Cody, and then the lights go out, and then he's gone. And he's like, it was like magic. He's like, I know how this works, but it's like magic. It's like, oh my gosh, he is controlling the lights. Yep. And it's part of that aura, and that part of that aura is the gong and the entrance music. Yep. Oh my gosh,
100%.
So good.
What's your number 4?
I mean, WrestleMania 21. Let's keep it rolling with WrestleMania's. Triple H enters with Motorhead playing live in the venue, and come on. If you get to go over and like rock out with Lemmy as he's doing his thing, you're doing life right. Either that or you're probably in rehab. One of the two. But I mean, I number one, I just love the fact that this is probably one of the slowest Motorhead songs they ever recorded. It's kind of like, it's very, like they must have had to pull them back. Like, no, guys, another 5 BPM slower, please. But it's so badass. And if nothing else, say what you will about Paul Levesque. He introduced a whole new generation to Motorhead, which good on you, Paul. But yeah, that's iconic. Anytime you can get one of like the all-time like hard rock, metal, speed metal. I mean, whatever you want to call Motorhead.
Not to mention,
come on.
Not to mention.
Oh gosh, we got to pull out the friggin' cheap ass
Triple
belt.
H.
He won't defend again.
Stop calling this cheap ass belt. This is the real World Championship belt. Triple H was wearing it. He comes up from beneath the stage on a riser with this strapped around his waist. And I remember it watching Lemmy's funeral that he gets up to speak, Triple H, and says there's no better feeling than to have this song playing live with the world title strapped around your waist, and you're coming up from under the stage with the crowd cheering while they're singing behind you.
Yeah. And quite an elegant, eloquent eulogy delivered by Paul.
Oh yeah. 100%. Class act.
I love how he described the time that Lemmy came to see him wrestle in LA. And he's like, you always seem to lose. He's like, but it's perfect for Motorhead.
That's right.
I was like, that's great.
That's right.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
Where were we? You're number 3, sir.
My number 3 is WrestleMania 13. Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Bret the Hitman Hart. This is a iconic match for the two of them. This is where the double switch happens. We have a face turning heel and a heel turning face, but before that is the entrances, and Stone Cold Steve Austin comes out to the glass shattering, and literally the glass shatters in this one.
Yes,
there is a piece of glass that is shattered as he kind of walks through. The best part is when you watch that entrance, the glass shatters, he walks through, and he's jaw-jacking about something. You don't know what the hell it is.
Well, he was always doing that.
Austin just makes it work. He just walks out and he's like, like you have no idea what he's upset about. Maybe it's like the glass wasn't hung the way he wanted it to be or something.
Well, he was the original voices in my head thing. It's like he's having a conversation
Yes.
And you think it's
yes.
one-sided, but then you're like, maybe it isn't one-sided.
But it made me
Who is he
crack up.
talking to?
It made me crack up watching him walk out, though. I mean, that was, I mean, with the music and I mean, just the whole scene was made, music, everything was just perfect. And then Bret Hart coming out to the Heart Attack theme with the lights and the lasers and everything was just so well done. And yeah, so it just set the table for what was an iconic match between these two. But I got to put that as my number 3 because that was a moment where Stone Cold's theme and everything they kind of built around that theme and him walking out was just point perfect.
Yes.
So very much enjoyed it. What is your number 3, sir?
Number 3, CM Punk returning at WWE Survivor Series 2023, back in WWE for the first time in 10 years?
Good Lord Almighty.
And at a point when both of us, as we were watching this, I think we had the same feeling.
I spoiled this for you.
You did?
You were not watching Survivor Series live, and I wrote, "Oh my God, he actually came back!" And you're like, "Dude, I'm not watching this live."
Oh yeah. But the thing is, like, you're as watching it, like the notes come up, like the little at the time, because it wasn't like produced by or whatever. The credits were a little different, but it was like they were going off air. And that's when they hit Punk's theme music.
Yes. And that's what was so jarring about it, because you thought it was the end of the event. And you're just like, all right, here we go.
It's literally like they played it up like, oh my gosh, how'd this happen?
Yes.
And the fact that the crowd erupted.
Yep. They were in Chicago.
And even Punk was saying, like, he's like, I could not hear the music when I went out.
Yeah.
Like, you just couldn't
That's incredible.
hear anything. I mean, that's a lot of those sound systems in the arenas are not cheap.
No.
and the fact that you can't hear that, and that he waited so long to get out there, like, that is what is great. Like, it took forever for him to walk out, and when he finally did, it got even louder, which was incredible.
Yep.
Yeah, another great use for dramatic effect of a theme song that is going to be instantaneously recognizable and is going to elicit exactly the reception and the reaction you're looking for.
Yep.
Such great execution. What's
100%.
your number 2?
This one you can watch on YouTube. Look up Money in the Bank 2011 WWE Championship match between then champion John Cena versus challenger CM Punk. By God, the entrances in this and for both of these guys are just what sets the tone for this match. The match itself is incredible. We've done an entire episode where we did a walkthrough of this match because it is a classic. It is must-see viewing if you are a fan of professional wrestling as a whole, because these two do a phenomenal job. But when we talk about entrances, you have Punk coming out to This Fire Burns. He had not converted over to Cult of Personality yet. But that song was phenomenal. But being in Chicago, being the babyface, and who was on his way out from a contract perspective, the storyline here was his contract was up at midnight, and he was challenging for the WWE Championship. So conventional wisdom tells you Cena is going to beat him, because why would the company book the match any other way? But he comes out, the hometown hero. The crowd is 100% in his pocket. I mean, the pop he gets is just absolutely insane. And you have to watch that whole entrance. It's not just him walking out and then popping at the first note. It's him doing various things to play up to the crowd, and the crowd is so 100% behind him. It's incredible. And then you contrast that when Cena's music hits and he walks out, and it is the biggest boo fest you have ever heard in your life. I mean, it's just like, if you could amplify boo to an infinite degree, this was Chicago when John Cena, and Cena, to his credit, plays it up. He doesn't try to play the babyface. He just walks the hell out down the aisle. He gets in the ring, he unstraps the belt, and he just holds it up with his head down like, yep, the champ is here, and I'm not going to flaunt it.
Yep.
I mean, seriously, well done by Cena, who was just kind of playing up the fact that he was persona non grata that night.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was just, again, in Cena's case, the theme didn't play the way you would expect, but in Punk's case, it 100% just played up this underdog aspect of him. And I felt just was one of the details that made that night a night, a match perfect, night perfect sort of performance for him and Cena. This is a classic. I know they, recently in July they performed Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia, but that match to me pales in comparison to this one because this was the two of them at their prime.
Oh yeah,
and they put on a hell of a match, regardless of who came out on top. I mean, there were shenanigans and ballyhoo and so forth, but this was honestly probably next to Austin Hart, probably one of the best wrestling matches I've ever gotten to witness on WWE programming. So I would highly recommend it as the entrances made it. So what is your number 2, sir?
Rhea Ripley, WrestleMania 40 with Motionless in White live. She's a fracking star, dude.
Yes.
And this was just a yet another, because it wasn't like the first time that you saw this, but it was seeing like, yes, this woman is a performer of the highest caliber. She has the aura. She is a star.
Yep.
On this stage, on this level, and is on par with anybody else on the show, including the people who are in the main events. And it, like, no doubt, just the way that she commands her presence out on that stage, and the fact that, again, like, one of her favorite bands, and she gets to be out there while they're singing her song as she goes to the ring and people are cheering her. Like, that is, that's, I mean, it goes back to like Billy Bean. Like, how can you not be romantic about baseball? How can you not be romantic about something like professional wrestling in a moment like that? Like, someone who tried out for WWE when they were like 16 years old or 17 years old and got rejected because, well, you're too young, and kept at it, and has gone through all these things, and, obviously struggles with anxiety and or, about, whether she's good enough and whether she's going to be able to put this all together and all those things, like all these human things. And then essentially gets to walk out of a fracking telephone booth and be her own personal Superman.
Yeah.
Like, how can you not be romantic about that? Someone achieving their dreams and being able to have that transformation and be larger than life. Like,
yep.
How can you not be romantic about that? How can you not cheer for someone like that?
100%.
And the fact that she, whenever she's in interviews, she's so goofy is just another thing where I'm like, all right, yeah, I was already sold, but now you got me. Whatever. Just here, please take my money. Whatever. But yeah, that was a great entrance. So cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
100%.
And here it looks like we have a tie at number 1.
Simpatico.
Now, are you thinking mostly for one person in particular, or are you looking at all 3 entrances?
No, this is totally for Punk.
Okay, good.
Punk.
Yeah.
So
CM
Rollins and
Punk,
Reigns, it really doesn't matter to
41.
me. It's and I think you would agree with this too. I've in my fandom of WWE, I don't know that I've ever seen a better entrance for an individual. And again, recency bias could be playing here, but it's very hard for me to think of another individual, maybe other than Steve Austin, where an entrance so perfectly set the table for someone to come out. Punk, this was his first WrestleMania main event.
Mm-hmm.
This was, he not only had his, it's not only his standard entrance, but it was also the band that performed that entrance performing live.
Mm-hmm.
Similar to what you just mentioned with Rhea Ripley, like that was a live performance of that band. And I thought it was, with him coming out with Heyman, and part of it probably is, me knowing the history of Punk, I don't know if it hit everyone the same way. If you're someone who doesn't know his backstory and know, what he's been through, they try to do a little bit of a video package around that, but unless you've seen like the documentary CM Punk Best in the World, and unless
Mm-hmm.
you've read about, kind of his journey to get to where he is, his first main event at WrestleMania hits a little differently,
Mm-hmm.
it was very cool to see him in that position, because for so long it seemed like he was the underdog that was never going to hit that goal.
Mm.
And to have the band play the song, and honestly, one of the things that I think made that entrance so good for me was the fact that it was done live, because there's one point in the entrance where he's walking, after they've done the whole like it's clobbering time bit, and he's walking the aisle with Heyman, and the announcer starts to announce him, from Chicago, Illinois, and weighing blah blah blah. Like the band like Corey Glover actually cuts back on his lead vocal while she's introducing him.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives the song such a different live feel to it. Like it feels very raw and very like, oh yeah, this is like live. This is like, it's a minor detail probably to a lot of people, but when I saw that, I'm like, that is a really cool effect, because otherwise if it was just them playing the recording of the song, it would have played out as is.
Mm-hmm.
But to hear Corey Glover cut back on his lead vocal and let the announcer announce Punk and Heyman, as they were, it just, I don't know, it gave it something raw. Like there was something raw about that I really liked. I'm like, that's really cool. It's live. It's in living color. It is, like, you know what I mean? Like it felt really cool. And then Corey Glover's vocals were absolutely amazing, especially when Punk gets down to the ring and gets on the ring apron and he finishes up that performance. His vocals are freaking insane at that point. He is like,
she got me this time.
Oh, she did.
She did. I didn't see that one coming.
Yes. My God, she's up late.
Yeah, school ain't started yet.
It's 11:21, and you're watching Perspectives.
I'm sorry. What? No, you can't make your entrance a second. We're talking about wrestling entrance themes. You don't get a second chance at a. You got something? Okay. All right. And she's gone.
Okay, there was a lot of noise there, and apparently she took off.
Oh my gosh, she's doing.
Was she doing her own entrance?
Theme. You hear? Hang on a second.
Oh, I hear it.
Do that again.
Wait, do I have to go in again?
Just sing it.
Oh.
Oh my goodness.
I sing that all the time now because I've seen him.
See, like you were saying, it's identifiable.
It is.
So, as Tim was just saying, it's 11:22 here on the East Coast,
and you're watching Perspectives.
And so, what's been going on in the world of Kaylin? You are you're actually under 14 days until moving into your college dormitory. How you feeling?
Great. Stunning. Wonderful.
Alrighty then.
Is she feeling stunning Steve Austin stunning, or is she feel?
I don't know if she get that reference.
Don't ask.
So now the next question we have. So you were watching. It's To All the Boys I've Loved.
I've loved before. Yeah.
I've loved before. The third one.
What? What about that?
The third movie in the series, I'm guessing.
Oh, the third movie is about like her senior year and like her leaving for college and like choosing which college to go to and stuff like that. So that was kind of, I wanted to watch that last minute just because.
I had no idea there were 3 of these movies to begin with. I had no. So when you were like, To All the Boys I've Loved Before, I'm like, oh, okay. And then you're like, the third one, I'm like, I beg your pardon? There's 3 of these. All right. Okay. But then again, isn't there like 5 movies where it's like the Marine, tying back to John Cena once again?
I think so.
Yeah, there's a bunch of those. I was Miz in one of them. Yeah. Oh my God. That's how far down we fell. It was like after him, they were like, hey, Farouk, Ron, you want to do one of these? Like,
bam!
The Marine retired.
Yeah.
Anyways, so what is on your mind this evening?
How awful my dorm room is gonna look.
Okay.
That's an early judgment.
It's gonna look amazing because I'm amazing and I'm awesome at decorating. But the room in its bare bones when we see it, because I'm gonna be me and my other roommate, one of my roommates. We're gonna be the first people there, so she's gonna help us move stuff around. But we're gonna be pretty much tasked with rearranging the room.
So you're gonna get to set the tone.
What does that mean?
You can just like do whatever you want, and then whoever shows up last, they're like, "That's your bed."
Pretty much, yeah.
Where did Tim go? What? Where's he? He's okay.
I'm here.
I thought you developed a crick or something. You
no.
And when he comes back up, it's like the moon rising from like the horizon.
There we
with
go.
His head, it's like it's shining. And
That's right.
It's like the sun rising.
It blinds you. You can't help but stat at it.
Speaking of which, you might need to put a little powder on that next time because I am noticing there's a distinct glare going on.
Oh, stop it!
You need to watch it, sir. I'm just saying. You might go back to the Fender hat. Although I'm not doing too much better.
I was going to say, like, come on now. You don't have an overhead light turned on. That's the problem here.
I'm sorry, what?
Setting powder is really good for the greasy spots. Heads up. So basically all of Tim's head.
Oh, I thought you were talking about my head. I'm like, I don't think I'm that greasy.
Oh, don't make me pull up the photos that I took of you on 4th of July. Because that was bad.
Boy, she's just coming out with both
really
barrels,
bad.
isn't she?
You do know I've only made one payment on your college, right?
Yeah.
What? Oh, wait, we got the whole fam damly going on here. What's happening? The sheet is coming off the bed, and you can't get it. Okay.
Damn it, Todd.
Kaylin, this is the moment you've been waiting for. Take over. Because I got to go fix the sheet from off.
I have better things to do.
Sit down with the Two Guys podcast.
Dear Lord, he's so ungrateful.
Oh, how are you?
I'm good.
That is good. So, what was your favorite moment from the Fan Expo? Because I know you had a good time down there. So I know you got to meet John Cena, and you had a
so cool
happenstance meeting with the Dudley Boys, which was really funny the way your dad tells it.
Honestly, that probably makes it into my top moments of the Fan Expo just by how awkward it was.
Did Bubba Ray scare you for a moment? He is kind of a scary looking dude.
Yeah. They're both scary looking dudes.
Well, Devon more so because he's got all the like scarring on his forehead, but like Bubba Ray's got like the attitude, you know?
I feel bad for like the scrawny manager that has to work with them because he looked terrified.
But what was it like taking a picture with John Cena?
It was very, very quick because it was very no talking. Kind of thing. Is you get in, you take a photo. It's like very like do this, do that, like, and then you're done. So that was a little sad. I'm a little sad I didn't really get to talk to him that much. But he was super sweet. He was so sweet. I was probably super awkward during that interaction. It was bad. It was so bad.
Oh.
I had no idea what to do. So
I'm sure you did fine. It's always different when you meet someone who's like a star and you see them for the first.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, sweet vindication.
Not so funny now, is it?
I will scratch you with my nails. I've been going without extra.
All right, ready to tag out? Just don't pull out.
We were talking about the Fan Expo, my friend.
You can't. Oh, that's right. You can't hear anything.
I can't.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Sorry. Here you go.
All right. Here, let me do this. You go there. All right.
We're having a conversation about the Fan Expo, and you interrupted.
I'm sorry. All right, so did you need to tie up that story? No. Need to go change your shorts?
Situation.
Well, I'm glad I didn't move the mic over. Anyways, say goodnight to all of our listeners and viewers.
Good night. Hope you all had a nice laugh, because I hope your lives are short.
That was dark.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. It's 11:29 p.m. here on the East Coast.
And you're watching Perspectives.
And Kaylin is going to bed.
Indeed.
All right, good night. Love you. Well, guess what? We got the gym tomorrow at 9:30.
Ooh.
9:30 a.m.
And you're watching Perspectives.
Whoa. All right. Good night. Love you.
I'll run away. I'll run away.
You're already running away to Boston. Don't worry about it. All right.
All right. We were talking about.
So
we're talking about CM Punk's entrance at WrestleMania 41, which you also listed. You have not talked about this at all. So any comments?
So I would actually, you made a comment about, maybe Steve Austin kind of being close. I don't think Steve Austin holds a candle to this because the emotional story tied up in this is way bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what trumps that, because it is genuine emotion, it is genuine story. It's all those things that you can't write. Like this is genuinely part of this dude's life history, and that becomes a much bigger thing. And it is developed into part of his character, is being that voice of the voiceless. And in the same way where, Mick Foley was like, I figured I would just always be the guy who never got the championship. Like, and he kind of learned to be okay with that.
Yeah.
In the same way that I'm sure in somewhere in his head, even though CM Punk's like, wow, that'd be really nice, but you know what? I am not probably going to get that chance. And to get that chance, it's like, holy hell, now what?
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, it's a fantastic example of real life playing out. And again, another one of those things where he gets to share it with someone who's obviously very important to him and who obviously understands what a moment this is for Punk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, how can you not be romantic about a moment like that? How can you not be?
Indeed.
All right. Yeah, I'm not going to ask this next question because we'll be here forever. So what do you got for and another thing?
My and another thing is, similar to last time, this is an Ariel Helwani interview that is on YouTube that you can find, but is with Karrion Kross. And I have probably about 10 or 15 minutes left on it, but it is very interesting. It is a interview around his, what appears to be his departure from WWE. I think there are some fans that are still hanging on to the idea that this is a work and all of that, but he comes across as very contrite, very honest about kind of the situation, and does seem like it's kind of the end of the road for him in WWE. So we will see. But no, I would just highly recommend it. It was a very interesting listen and in story. And I think what's most telling to me and what I find so interesting is, we're like we just talked about with Punk, that this long journey to get to this point. And I think, oftentimes we get kind of anchored to the success of individuals and the journey they take to get to that success. But there are some that don't get there. And what is that like? What, like, how do they feel about that? What is their thought process with it? And so we get into that a little bit with this interview, and I found it very interesting. And so, so I would just highly recommend Karrion Kross's interview with Ariel Helwani on YouTube as some must hear listening.
Sure.
Must see doesn't sound like it makes sense. So,
well, I mean, it's on YouTube, so
I guess it could kind of be must see, but it's more, listening to it all. But what is your end another thing, sir?
Before I go with my end another thing, I just have one question on this. Do you think, because you had said, it appears it's, there's people who are still holding on to the fact this is a work. I almost think that the fact that he's doing this interview with Ariel Helwani leads me to think more that it's a work, because for all of these interviews, people who are under WWE contracts, even though they're independent contractors, I'm thinking that WWE could tell them, like, it would not be conducive to your career with us if they don't have in their contract that you are only going to be interviewed by people that we want you to be interviewed on. Because back in the day, it was like, if you want to be on the Tonight Show, they only were WCW guys and stuff like that. Yeah. If Ariel Helwani brings Karrion Kross on there and it's like, oh, well, he's going to vent his spleen out and whatever. Okay, you don't get anyone else from WWE if you want to do that. It almost makes me feel like this makes it almost more likely that it's a work, that WWE is okay with this. Either that or, like, Triple H is seriously trying to do him a solid on the way out and be like, yeah, get as much exposure as possible. Just don't run us down.
I mean,
that sort of thing.
A couple things that would support what you're saying is, one, the interview that I mentioned last week with Paul Heyman that Ariel Helwani had. Heyman talks for about 5 to 7 minutes about Karrion Kross and potentially, kind of carrying some of the momentum that a Stone Cold Steve Austin had.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, tall words coming from a very prolific individual within the, wrestling industry.
And also someone who worked with Steve Austin.
Yes. And Kross talks about how he has a relationship with Paul Heyman that he doesn't talk about very much. And so it does kind of open the door to, does Kross become part of Seth Rollins? As we get closer to Survivor Series, Seth Rollins needs a couple more people if they're going to do a War Games match.
Mm-hmm.
And would Karrion Kross be one of those individuals? That'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And so, so I think you're onto something. I mean, the way he tells the story, he was provided a contract renewal that was you need to answer yes on this in 24 hours or it's going to be rescinded. And he basically explained to Ariel Helwani, I just wanted to understand what was the data behind the valuation they came to on what they wanted to pay me, and they didn't want to present that, and so I didn't sign it. And so now it's null and void. And so, he was very clear about that throughout the interview, is that he was given an option to accept a contract but he wanted to understand what was their reasoning behind it. And he's like, I still do. I still want to sit down with them and talk about it, but they don't want to. And so it's very much and he's very contrite about this. He's not playing a character. He's not trying to play a gimmick. He seems very, very much a person just talking about their contract situation. And Ariel Helwani very clearly asked him, like, is this a work right now? And a lot of this is based on the Seth Rollins stuff, because now I think a lot of media is like, okay, are you working me here or are you not? And he's like, no, I'm not working you. I'm not working for WWE anymore. I don't have a contract with them. And here's why. And he goes into it and stuff. So, but I think to your point, I think we're entering into an era where they are kind of playing with reality a little bit. I think they're going to play the media because I think they want to keep some intrigue going on, their characters and the people that are involved in it. And I think by doing that, it makes you second guess pretty much everything along the way. And so anyway, so that's why I find that to be a very interesting interview.
Nice.
How about you, sir?
Well, another thing, I'll make this kind of quick because it is kind of quick. I'm going to endorse the beverage I've been drinking this evening because it was a test drive for me. So this is Ego is Not Your Amigo. And it is a Mexican-style gluten-free lager from Departed Souls out of Jersey City.
I didn't even know it.
I've been yearning for a Mexican-style lager, something closer to a Dos Equis, not really a Corona, but like I got into Dos Equis in a big bad way when I worked down in Virginia, and I worked at a Mexican restaurant, and that was like my post-shift drink all the time. It was either Dos Equis that I could get. The statute of limitations expired on this one anyways, but I used to ring up Dos Equis, like happy hour beers during happy hour, and then tell the bartender, like, don't make those. And then I'd go at the end of the night and cash those in like chips at a casino.
Nice.
So I get like 99-cent 20-ounce Dos Equis and put like 3-4 limes in that bad boy. And that was like my lifeblood after like slinging fajitas all day. So to get something that's even remotely close to something like a Dos Equis or a Corona or something like that is very nice. And I did test drive this tonight with a bunch of limes. Worked out well. I will be going and purchasing whatever 4-packs they have left of this at my local Packy tomorrow. So yeah, if you're gluten free and you're looking for something that it fits that bill, I would recommend Ego is Not Your Amigo, and as well as a philosophy, it works out really well too.
Amen.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of our show. Thankfully, at this point, if you've made it this far, good God, buy yourself a drink on us. Thank you for listening. You can go to freerangeedc.com. You can get all of our episodes. We have our Week in Geek episodes are on Wednesdays, and we have Free Range EDC Fridays. You can get all of those right at freerangeedc.com. You can subscribe to the Podbean app. You can follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Amazon, all of the major podcast purveyors, and even the minor ones. Go ahead and search for us there. You can find full video episodes on youtube.com/@freerangeidiocy. If you want to follow us on the social medias, you can find us at Facebook. You can find us on the Instagrams. We are also on the aforementioned YouTube. All of those are at Free Range Idiocy. If you have any thoughts, questions, show ideas, or comments on any of our shenanigans here on the interwebs, you can send those to tim@freerangeidiocy.com, because quite honestly, I don't care. He'll parse through those and he'll decide what we want to talk about. And
I did tonight.
Yeah, that about covers it. So if you now I'm going to turn the show over to the least idiotic of the idiots who run this show, which granted, it's not a high bar to clear, but he does it with such grace and dignity. It's amazing. But not before I ask him the second most important question in all of human history. The first being, what is hip? The second being, what in the high holy hell did we learn this episode, sir?
We have learned that, at Free Range Idiocy, if we start the show early enough, you can see daylight out of Uncle Todd's window.
And you
not so much
midnight
now.
Creeping up over the horizon.
Not so much now, but of course. We've also learned that there are a variety of aspects that make an entrance theme impactful for a wrestling superstar, and our top 20, I feel, on both sides of the equation here, both for myself and for Uncle Todd, cover those with a plume and with panache.
Plume.
No, I figure why not. But yes, and do check out some of the events that we called out because they are must-see viewing and would be definitely in the wheelhouse of kind of getting one's fandom established by understanding why these events are so impactful and so great.
Get your bony fides in.
That's right. We will check them. We will help you along. We will guide you in getting your bona fides in order because ours are in good state. And we have also learned that, at the end of the day, the man they call Tim, he's got the belt. He's willing to defend it, just not against Uncle Todd. So... well played, sir. Well played. Oh my gosh! And we've also learned that even though Kalen can get Uncle Todd can get Kalen back 3 times over, and he did with a masterful job.
That was a pretty good jump scare, wasn't it?
That was. I mean, that was like, it was almost like a cat. It was like,
It was.
It was great. We were having a conversation. I was like, but nonetheless, as we like to close things out here on the range, we thank you for the listenership as always, and as we are to do. Be safe, be healthy, be kind, be good to one another. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. The range is closed for now, and the world title is on my shoulder secure. See ya!
I like a Mussolini!
It's like I picked the wrong week to quit drinking.
I beg your pardon, what did you say?
I think you've had about enough.
Well, I think you're wrong, you increasingly attractive-looking woman. You're really pretty.
Oh, stop.
No, I'm serious. You could be in magazines. You could. And not just like Jugs or Creamsicle. Call me? She won't call.
Oh, here's a pleasant sight. Cirrhosis the Wonder Dog.
I'm not drunk, all right? I just have a speech impediment. And a stomach virus. And an inner ear infection.
You're such a disappointing pair. I prayed so hard for you. Get out. And don't come back until you've redeemed yourselves.
So say we all.
So say we all.
You ain't nothing but a paper champion. That's all you are. You're a paper champion.
Now hit my music.
You know what? We're going to hit my music.
Oh, please do. There we go. Well done, sir.
Glorious. No, I won't give in till I'm victorious. And I will defend.
There it is.
Now get the hell out of here!